want to keep talking about that or change?
I mean, we don't have to.
It's your call.
If it comes up again.
This is a podcast. We could talk about anything.
I've never been on a podcast before.
You've never been on a podcast? But you've been on the news. I just saw that video last night. Yeah.
Dude, I've had a fucking what? Can I say bad words?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this was a Christian podcast.
Yes, it is. We're actually going to be doing Bible verses in about 30
me?
seconds. Yes. Yes, that's what I do here.
All right, word. Well, I've had quite an eventful couple months.
Do you want to talk about it? What's been going on?
I mean, I went to the ER, and then they put me outside, and then I did like a shit post on my art account, because I do that it's like from my Snapchat story at like 3 a.m. I was like, this is a funny video. And then I opened my phone and I was like, what the fuck? It has like, I think now it's cooled off at about like 8.4 milli.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's gotta be wild.
It was weird too, because I just like watched it all unfold from my cell phone.
You're like, what the fuck is happening?
My daily life didn't really change. Like if I didn't open my TikTok, I wouldn't have even noticed. But then some lady from Inside Edition, which is, I don't know, something old people watch.
Yeah. That's a good way to describe it.
I don't know, it's some bullshit. She DM'd me, and I was like, are you fucking with me? I was like, you know what? Whatever. And then I was in the middle of moving, actually, when I was interviewed.
Back down here?
Yeah, because I had all my shit up in Portland in a storage unit, so I'd been, like, couch surfing here. I was at my cousin's house, and I started having a really bad asthma attack. And they were like, you need to go to the ER. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But they took me to the ER. I was having like a full-blown, like massive panic attack. And I couldn't breathe. It was really gnar. And
no.
Yeah, they like put me in, like at first I was in the waiting room just like chilling. Not really. I was not.
Freaking out. Yeah. But like, okay, this is fine.
And then I was like gasping for air. It was very dramatic. Like rocking back and forth in this chair. And some chick comes up to me. And she's like, I have alopecia. So she's like fully bald. And I'm like, that's cool.
Thanks for sharing.
And she's like, I'm a soul healer. Did someone attack you? And I was like,
oh, God.
I have asthma. I don't know what to say right now. And then this other guy was like, seemed like a regular. So he was high on something. He was like,
goes there on his off nights.
Yeah, he was shouting at the receptionist. He's like, you dumb fat bitch. Are you on your period? And I was like, and they took me over to the desk, to the triage, to take my vitals, and he was like, are you a boy or a girl? I was like, what the
God. Oh, you gotta love the ER.
Yeah, especially in Humboldt.
Yeah.
And then they wheeled me out in the wheelchair to the ambulance bay, and the nurse gave me a bunch of blankets, and was like, all right, if you need something, just wave at me. You're on camera. And then she left me out there alone. It's like 2:30 in the morning.
Did she say, like, acknowledge everything that was going on? Like, sorry we have to put you outside?
I honestly don't really remember. I think she was so frantic that it didn't really come up. It was just kind of like, here, this is what I have for you. We're going to deal with it. And then they hooked me up to an oxygen tank, and they gave me, like, a nebulizer, which is just a standard asthma treatment. But there was someone, like, digging in the dumpster, like, over the fence, like, shouting. And
so you had a little show going on?
I just took a little video because I was like, this is really my real life right now. I just wanted to show my friends, and then I showed 8 million people on accident.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then I found a place to live, got a job, and then I got fired. And the hospital has sent my bill to collections because I don't have insurance in California yet. So my shit's fucked.
Damn. Okay, so it's been, when you said it's been a wild few weeks, you meant it's been a wild few weeks.
I don't even know what day it is. It's been so much happening. I'm like, whoa. I moved here with like a week's notice because I hated my job in Portland and I just did not like it up there. And it was like hotter than the Middle East. It got to like 115.
Jesus.
You're like, you know what would be cool? Let's move back to the town I haven't lived in since I was 12 years old. Let's do that.
You haven't lived here since you were 12?
I moved after 6th grade. I moved to Oregon.
Oh,
so
no
Cutton
shit.
was, yeah. That's
Cutton was the last, oh my God.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. And then I went to U of grad, just been drawing and shit. And my art's been doing okay. In the meantime, so now that I'm not employed, it's kind of cool. I just sold a painting for like $200. So.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like, it's kind of hit or miss, though. It's not, like, reliable income. It'd be cool if it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw your art. I know I told you when I reached out, but I've been, like, a silent supporter of your art in the background. Just, like, not creepy, but, like, oh, my God, that's awesome she's doing that.
I have had that Facebook album, like, as long as I've had a Facebook, which is like half my life, which makes me uncomfortable if I think about that. I got a Facebook when I was like 12 just to like meme around with my cousins, but I've had that art album on there like up to date in order with all the things I've worked on since 2010.
Wow.
So everything
So you
on
got to
there,
get it, like, track your progress there.
yeah, it didn't really like, it wasn't like intentional. It was like, I'll post this. It was more like, I want my grandma to see my picture. It's been like 12 years on accident. So
Wow.
I guess I can't count. 10 years. What year is it? 11 years.
2021. I had to think about that for a second. I was
I'm like, wait,
where
where am I?
It still feels like 2019.
I stopped existing in 2019, I think.
Yeah. When COVID hit, I feel like time just was out the window.
Yeah, it was my last semester, or my last trimester of college. So it's just
Right
like,
when it struck.
yeah,
Damn.
2020 grad, and then it just evaporated.
Damn.
But yeah, I spent my last term of college because I got a full ride, and they give you a certain amount of scholarship money if you sign up for classes, and if you like fail a class, they'll put you on academic warning, whatever. But it was my last term. I had finished all my credits, and I was like, I have another term of funding. So I signed up for classes, didn't go to them one single time, and then just got drunk the whole spring.
Oh, that's awesome. Come on.
And like played tag with my friends. Like,
They're like, are you supposed to be in class? It's like, no, I'm done.
you mean online Zoom school?
I've got my degree. I'm good.
Yeah, I finished my degree like my 2 degrees a term early. So I was just like, I'm not doing Zoom school. That is not it.
It was rough. I did my last year and some change on.
Yeah, did you finish recently?
Yeah, I finished in May.
How's that going for you?
I'm sitting in the garage doing a podcast. So.
Me too, brother. I'm getting fired from a Mexican restaurant, so.
Oh yeah, clearly we're doing something right. I think.
I don't know. We're all in Eureka, so.
Oh, I know. How depressing, but how exciting at the same time.
Where'd you go to school?
I bounced around so many times. I went to OSU for a little while.
Oh, really?
Yeah, then down to SAC.
My
and then...
enemy. I'm like accidentally.
I know, right? I almost wear a Beavers. I have a little
That
Beavers
would've been
cap.
hilarious.
That would have been so funny.
I am only wearing this because my hair is greasy, and this is the first hat that I was like, dang, I have to.
You gotta shout out.
I have to like go in
the
public
Ducks.
today. Let's go Ducks.
Oh man, but your art, I don't know how I know this, but I've known about you, creating pieces since like high school, which is weird because we didn't go to high school together. But
in 6th grade, I used to like do commissions. Like the first
back in 6th grade.
I don't remember who I would do them for. I just remember I had a little like side gig, like hustling. I'd be like, I'll draw you this like weird elf for $10. I remember I used to do that. I don't know who my patrons were, but I'm grateful to them for the artist.
Probably one of those guys screaming at the receptionist at the ER.
Yeah,
right?
probably.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I've been doing that for days, but I was kind of like weird and low key about it. It was never like, because I have a degree in international studies, so it's like,
okay.
I didn't go
to
school for art, because I was like, it's just a thing I do. I didn't really think much of it, but then I was like, TBH, I'm really fucking good at this. I should do something with this. But I've drawn since I could like hold a pencil, since I had like the ability to grip things in my hands.
That's cool though. Sixth grade.
Yeah, that's when I first began the hustle.
When did you think like, oh, I could do something with this?
I don't know if I've ever thought that.
Okay, understandable.
I think now I'm kind of like, maybe I should take this seriously. But when I was younger, I kind of got in the old habit of like, oh, you can't make a career with art. Like, you should get something practical and then just do it as a hobby. But my practical skills aren't helping me out here either. So I'm like, I could be starving artist, or I could just be starving, and that's which one has more clout? You tell me.
And you get to draw with the other one, so it's like
exactly.
Might as well.
I know. And I got an iPad. Like the most money I've ever spent. I probably should have like done something more wise with that, because I have like $300 to my name at this moment in time. But I bought an iPad and I started doing digital art. I kind of expanded mediums. I started doing colored pencil. I started doing oil painting. I used to be very strictly like just graphite, like me and a mechanical pencil. But I was like, let's try some new shit. But I'm like such a perfectionist. I have to think about how I'm going to do something for like 6 years before I actually am like willing to do it, because I can't stand being bad at things. It makes me uncomfortable. Especially art related things. So I'm like, I already know how to draw. If I'm bad at oil painting, I think I'll die.
Yeah. So how long does it take when you come up with an idea and you're like, this is what I want to draw? How long does it take before you actually start?
It kind of depends, because it's not really like a streamlined process, which is why it's hard to harness as like a career, because I feel like it just hits me sometimes randomly. Like I'll come up with an idea sometimes and I'll draw it immediately, or I'll come up with an idea and I'll think about it for a long time, like years and years, and I'll be like, I should draw that old idea. Like my notes app on my iPhone is like full of just random shit I've never drawn. A lot of time though, I have this idea for a concept, but it'll completely change throughout the process of making it. It's hard to explain, even as the person who does it. I don't I don't really know how
It
to
kind of just
explain
comes to you.
it. Yeah, it kind of just happens. Not to sound like, whoa, sorry, I keep smacking your shit.
You're good. Can you do me a favor? Just turn the mic that far. Yeah, just turn it slightly far.
This way?
I gotta get a new mic. This thing's a work in progress.
You know, it all looks really fancy and expensive to me. So.
It doesn't. Then you walk in, you're like, what's up with what?
I mean,
what is this place?
Based on my standards, this is fucking like you got your drinks all organized. You're doing.
Yeah, feel free to. I gotta put up a little sign that says whatever you want. You can have whatever you want there. That's.
I am unemployed. I might as well.
Whatever you want. What can I get you?
Can I get a truly mango?
Yeah.
Just staring at me.
Specific flavor?
I'll do the mango one.
I feel like, now I feel pressured.
What is it, like 3 p.m.?
Yeah.
I guess it's almost 4.
It's a podcast. I mean, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's 5 o'clock in Arizona or some shit. I don't know. Is it daylight savings?
I should get a clock for some,
Wherever it's 5 o'clock.
some foreign country where it's 5 o'clock and just be like, well, it's 5 o'clock now.
I tried this whole thing where I was like, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to be a healthy person. And I was like, damn, this is really boring.
Yeah, I was going to say, that sounds like it sucks.
I'm bored all the time. I was just stressing myself out because I was like, I need to make healthier life choices and like just work out more. And then I was like, damn, I don't get people who do that.
I'm one of those people that loves working out, but like if I had to sacrifice beer for that, I'd be like,
I think not drinking is not a wise way for me to go, because what ends up happening is I'm like, whoa, I've been sober for like 3 days. I can't deal with it. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. It's more like
start getting all shaky. You're like, oh,
yeah, no, I'm not quite at that level. I just drank way too fucking much in college to the point where it's like vile. Like I can't even like look at hard alcohol. If I go to the liquor store and like hold a bottle of vodka, I'm like I can't do it.
That last semester got you.
Oh man, it really did. More like the
whole time,
the
but
first
yeah.
through 8th, like it's some rowdiness, but I don't really like crave it as much as I used to. But I think just straight edge, it just makes me bounce like rubber band back to drinking way too much because I'm like so bored. I'm like, wow, I've been thinking my own thoughts for a really long time.
Do you ever get drunk and then draw?
I have done that a couple times. I studied.
How's it turn out?
Italy. Every kid that studied abroad has to slip it in the
shit.
conversation in any way possible. But
Oh,
anyway,
shit.
what
I'm surprised you don't have an Italian hat on.
I should. I actually do have one back home. I should have put that one on. It just makes my head look really big. But when I was there, I was drinking like €1 wine all the time because I was 19 and I was like, I can buy alcohol. I was really overcompensating. But I used to just get wine drunk and draw all day. I would like skip class and just draw little pictures. And like eat so much pasta. It's aggressive.
I would imagine. You almost have to. That's like a prerequisite for being out there.
Yeah. I used to smoke weed and draw, but I don't smoke weed anymore because it makes me freak out. It gives me panic attacks.
You get paranoid?
Yeah, I get weird. I'm like, I've never really existed. And I was like...
Oh, man. That's the best thing. You're like, we're just like sitting on a rock in space.
Yeah. For me, it goes too far. I'm like, man, I'm really just like a sack of meat.
Yep.
And I get a little too existential. It stopped being fun. So I also have asthma, so...
Yeah, that seems like...
The hospitalization...
Yeah.
It's not my fave.
Yeah. I could see that.
But we're not going to talk about my nicotine addiction, because that's not relevant right
now.
now.
You smoke. You smoke.
I
See,
don't
that's
smoke,
like the old smoking, right?
I vape, which is worse.
Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm sure the nurses love you down there.
I didn't tell them. Well, I told the doctor. I didn't tell the nurses, though. I was just like, please help me. I'm just a poor victim of asthma. I think
you guys are putting me out here in the cold with blankets.
Shh, don't tell them. They're going to, like, sue me or something. But, yeah, I can't let my TikTok fame, like, my fan base know about my vaping habit, because...
They just turn against you.
It's a fucking bad look, man. Because I think the reason, to be
fully
fully candid, that I had the asthma attack is because I couldn't find my inhaler, but I kept vaping anyway. And then when I found it, it wouldn't work. And I was like, man.
You're just like, this sucks.
I've sunk to a low in my life.
So the vaping...
It's so embarrassing.
That's got to make it Worse. I was gonna say. I was trying to figure out how to say that without saying it like that.
It's not as bad as smoking weed because that's like straight up fucking tar. I used to smoke blunts when I was in high school. And I used to smoke like 3 times a day. And I think that's probably why now it freaks me out because it's like, whoa, that is way too much weed for a developing brain. But that was certainly not good for my asthma, like smoking cigar wraps. Like,
Yep.
that was next level bad. So like a little like lychee flavored vape every once in a while is okay, I think. That's my justification for my addiction.
I never got into the vaping thing. Or nicotine. Nicotine in general. I was just like, I think I'm good.
It is so not my thing, and I think with quarantine I was so bored that I was like, I need something to do with myself, and I kind of bought it as a joke. This is
And
a
then it
PSA
turned against you.
all the kids who were like, don't do it. I bought it as a joke, and then I like a few months passed, and I was like, this is not a joke anymore.
This is just my life
I
now.
was like, addiction's not real, and then I was like, whoa, like, it's not.
Shit.
I've made a mistake.
Do you have like one of those big, what do they call them, like
No,
rigs?
like the
it's like 5 batteries
I'm
duct taped
offended
together.
that you would even think that of me.
What do you have, the little pocket one?
No, yeah, I have like a little buddy. It's like a little blue one.
That doesn't even look like a vape. That looks like a little whippet.
It looks like a whippet or a sex toy of some kind.
I was going to say that, but I was like, let's just start with whippet first.
I stay strapped. I'm
Damn.
prepared for any event.
Were you biking over here just like taking a quick puff just to keep you moving?
I didn't hit it on the bike ride, but it did fall out of my pocket, and I had to stop the bike and go get it because I was like, I need that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's deeply embarrassing, but I'm glad all the people that listen to this know that about me now.
Yeah, I feel like they're closer to you because of it. Your TikTok fans, maybe not, but
I think some of them would think it was funny. It's weird though, because like that viral video has just like taken over my whole account. So if I post anything, like my art was starting to do really well on there.
Oh no, and now it's just this.
And now if I post anything that isn't medical trauma, it just flops completely. So I'm like, wow, okay.
Thanks, guys.
I worked really hard on this video. Nobody cares. But the one shit post I made is what really
blew up. That's so indicative of like where we are in society.
I know.
It's just like
wow. I became for some reason like the face of the vaccine movement for a little moment, because my comment on the video is like, get your vaccines, people, which could be taken in any light. Like it could have been sarcastic, it could have been anything. I didn't really like, I wasn't trying to make a PSA. I didn't put a lot of thought in this video. I was like, haha, funny video. But all the comments were like, there was like a vax versus anti-vax war going on. Like, they're like, all you liberals and blah, blah, blah. It's like, whoa. I did not want to invite this energy into my life right now.
Yeah, when somebody was telling me about the video, and they spun it like, oh, it was a vax thing. I can't remember what they said. Like,
I feel like everything anyone says about anything
all goes back to that now.
It's going to get spun as some shit.
Yeah.
But I think people that actually know me, like, I don't care.
They were just laughing. They're like, what is happening?
I'm fully vaccinated. I did the whole quarantine, the whole thing. If you don't, don't come breathe on me, but that's your personal business. Like, I'm not going to go up to people's houses and knock on the door and ask them if they're vaxxed, you know? But a lot of the comments on that video were like, oh, don't tell me what to do. I'm like, bro, I don't know you. There's 8,000 people in my comments telling me not to tell them what to do. I don't care what you do. I just don't care. It was really funny, but it was like watching a car accident. I couldn't look away. So I was like shit talking people in the comments.
Oh god, I can't read the comments.
I've gone so low. I've fallen from my stoop.
Sometimes I'll, like on a late night, if I've got nothing better to do, I'll just scroll to people's posts where I know they're gonna get some shit, and I'll just read the comments. I'm like, why? And you always see them in there responding. It's like, why are you?
It's as a person who's been on, it's really hard not to. I've thought the same thing. I'm like, why don't you just ignore them? It's really hard. And there was some that were like so funny. I want to frame them. Someone said I was getting paid by Big Pharma to post that video. I'm like, I wish I was Big Pharma's bitch. Big Pharma chewed me up and spit me out, bro. I wish they were paying me. That'd be awesome. And then some other lady was like, maybe your vaccine status is what caused your asthma attack. Food for thought. And I was like, I've had asthma since I was born. I think my asthma...
Way pre-COVID.
Yeah, my asthma diagnosis caused my asthma attack.
People get weird when you start... Well, people are just weird now because of COVID in general, but the vaccine especially, they just get weird. It's like,
It really wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I got, when I got vaccinated, the girl right before me, or I think she was right after, because they make you sit and wait for like I don't know if you have yours or not, but they make
I haven't got mine.
yeah, they make you sit for like 15 minutes afterwards in case you have an allergic reaction. I got it like back in May just because I wanted to go to the bar when that was
To
the
get
thing.
motivator.
When that was the thing that might have happened and it didn't even work out anyway, whatever. But she got hers right after mine. I'm sitting there doing my little waiting period, and she went into an anaphylactic shock and like collapsed. She's probably like 17, and her mom was there with her, it's like screaming, and I'm just like,
Am I good to go?
I'm like, I would love to leave.
Yeah.
And the ambulance comes, and I still am like waiting there. I watched the whole thing.
Oh shit.
Her heart rate, they gave her an EpiPen, and her heart rate was still only like 70 BPM or something. Like, she was not okay. And then some lady came up to the paramedics and was like, your ambulance is blocking my car.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I've seen a lot of fucking weird people behaving strangely in public.
Oh my god. I would have, if I was after that girl, I would have just walked out. I'd be like, not for me today. This is an omen.
Yeah, I was right before. So
I would have been sweating. I would have been like, oh shit.
My roommate at the time was, I was scheduled at 3:15 and he was at 3:45, and the girl was at 3:30 right between us. So he was waiting for his, and I had just gotten mine, and we're both like, what the fuck? Yeah, but I ended up being fine. I just was kind of sore, and I went home and like I was like, I feel great, but then I laid down for 10 minutes and I woke up 7 hours later. So it is a little hardcore.
Yeah, most people I think take it pretty well. I haven't heard anybody about going into anaphylactic shock. That's like a little gnarly. 1 in like
6 million, and I of course
was right with her.
Being the person that I am and the things that happened to me, that I was right there. Yeah, it's been very. That's kind of just how my life goes. Just like weird, hilarious shit happening in front of me. That's like 1 in a million.
That keeps it exciting, though.
I'm just glad I have a robust sense of humor, because sometimes it's like, man.
Oh, dark.
I could do without the getting fired and the just random.
What are you gonna do now? Go egg that guy's house.
He at least was cool about it, even though I know he was like making up bullshit because he didn't like me. To be fair, I was talking mad shit about him. But I did convince the 2 new girls to quit.
Solidarity.
So, but he also was being hella weird to them. Like he told one of the new girls that she kind of dresses just like, she has like unique style. She dresses cool. She wears like baggier clothes. Who cares? We don't really have a dress code. He told her that when he hired her. He was like, we don't really have a dress code as long as you're not like naked, you know, like within reason.
Basics, yeah.
But he's been telling her like, your clothes are too bright. I'm like, I don't know what that even means. Or he told her you need to wear tighter clothes. Just weird.
Yeah, that's
uncomfy,
uncomfortable.
like I said when I got, yeah.
Yeah.
But he told the other girl we have to like make chips in the back in the fryer, which is kind of questionable for someone who's been working there for 2 days, because you're like literally it's burning oil. Like,
yeah.
You would think they'd want them trained more before they had them doing that. But she was making chips as her assigned duty, and the cook apparently tripped and fell and like got burned on the oil because the new girl was spraying it everywhere. But oil wouldn't stay hot. And none of us heard or saw her fall. And there's like 4 employees there. No one saw it happen. So we're all just kind of like, what? And so he came out and like bitched at the new girl for burning his cook. Just weird vibes.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good environment.
It was a little. I was already applying for new jobs, but I felt kind of like an asshole because since I graduated college, I've worked like, I think the longest I've worked somewhere is like 5 months before I was like,
really?
Before I was like, I hate this, dude.
Have you just got back here, so you stayed in Portland for a little while working around? I've
lived in 10 different places since
graduating?
June of 2020.
Wow, where?
I lived well 10 including like couch surfing. I lived right after that. I moved to Portland. I was working at a law firm. That was during the height of the protests in Portland. Someone drove their car through my work.
Is that when you quit? You were like, I'm out of this shit.
I stayed after that. You could smell the tear gas in the morning walking to work because it was like right.
Oh my god, what is that like?
I did get tear gas 6 times.
Were you at one of the?
I went to one.
Oh shit! 6 times.
In one night, I guess like.
Once wasn't enough. You're like, oh, I mean, going back for this.
Yeah,
I vape, bro. Come at me.
Someone was like, I guess the tear gas wasn't good for your asthma. I was like, well, I already vape, so it can't get worse. It's really cinnamony. It like
really
like before it starts to burn, it kind of tastes good. I don't know if others would share my opinion. That's just what I remember.
I don't think anybody's gonna test it out, but cinnamony.
Because it's like the same like brand of spicy as cinnamon. Like when you eat too much cinnamon,
Mm-hmm.
except it like it's kind of like fiberglass. You can like feel it in your skin, and it gets stuck in your hair. So if you shower the next day, it'll like wash down into your eyes. Just be really careful. Like it's on your hands. Like it was all over my hands, and I like accidentally touched my face.
Does it burn your skin or anything?
It,
Yeah.
it burns. I didn't get it as that bad because the people I was with had gas masks, and they gave me one.
Oh, you guys were out there.
Yeah.
Damn.
I kind of pussed out because they started shooting people with rubber bullets, and I was like, I'm not trying to cosplay as like a warrior right now. Like I was wearing like jeans and a t-shirt. I'm like,
Forgot my bulletproof jacket.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good.
I just kind of. I mean, this is controversial, but I just wanted to check it out. I wanted to see what the hullabaloo.
I would have,
was
if I
about.
was up there, I would have just been like,
It
I would have
was-
stayed far enough back where I'm not getting
I
tear
was
gas.
right up in the front.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
Because it was at the courthouse in Portland, and they had this big, like, intense military-grade fencing. You could see the feds. I was like, this is not real life. You could see the feds with their, like, giant assault rifles and all their gear. Like, they were literally, like, from Modern Warfare. Like, it just did not look real, so it kind of is hard to, like, take it seriously at first. I was like, you almost want to laugh 'cause it's
Yeah.
so absurd that I'm witnessing this with my actual eyes. And they were doing like a little voice broadcast out of there, and they were saying like, this is the Federal Protective Service, this has been declared an unlawful assembly. And I was like, I'm fucking scared right now. It feels like I'm on the Tower of Terror. Like I felt like an amusement ride.
Holy shit.
And people, they started tear gassing us at like 11 p.m. And the first time I was like, I didn't know what was happening. You just see like this white kind of cloud. It's less eventful than you would think it would be. And I was like, oh, I'm fine. I don't feel anything. But the gas mask was working because the girl next to me had just a medical mask on. She was like fully blind and she couldn't talk. Like it was fucked up. But later on the night, I started getting sweaty, so it stopped suctioning to my face, and I got completely under my mask, super bad.
How do you get it off?
For me, I didn't get it that bad. You kind of have to wait it out. People will come and rinse your eyes out with water.
Does that help?
It rinses it off your face. I don't really know the mechanics of it. I was just kind of like,
Yeah, you're just like, okay, this is enough.
I just showed up, but the girl I was with, she runs like a social justice organization, and she was fully armored up. She had like a bulletproof vest on.
Oh shit.
She had like a black like suit on. I was like,
she was ready to go to war.
and I was wearing like a fucking, I think it was something from like, it said Redwoods of California, like a little pink sweatshirt and jeans. And I was like, I'm in over my head right now. It's been very eventful.
That's crazy.
A lot has happened to me.
That is crazy.
Yeah, and then my job sucked. I hated it. I worked at a banking law firm that did like debt collection. And so we were garnishing people's wages. Like we had to like garnish Safeway wages. It's the middle of a pandemic. Like that was like right when it first started getting bad in like June of 2020. And these people are making like $14 an hour. We're taking away their paycheck. And it was just like so shitty. Like me and my coworkers weren't allowed to talk to each other. We would get in trouble. Like the legal assistants would tell on us for visiting. I was like, this sucks.
You couldn't talk while you were working?
We couldn't like chit chat. Like if someone came up to my desk to like drop something off, if they would stay and like talk to me for a little bit, we would get in trouble. It was crazy. I was like,
Are you guys all in like cubicles?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I was the receptionist's office clerk, so I was just like the errand boy. And there wasn't really anything for me to do. So they were making me like sort files from the 70s that no one had touched in like 15 years. It was like, this is
busy work.
This is a joke. Yeah. And then I quit and I moved back to Southern Oregon where I went to high school. And then my aunt's house burned down in the Alameda fire. So I did a GoFundMe for her and we got like $8,000.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not cool comparatively, but
yeah, because my uncle, they ride motorcycles and he had a stroke a few years ago, so he has this special one with 3 wheels, and that one it got completely decimated. So we got him a new one with the fundraiser, which was cool. I'm glad I got to do something at least.
yeah.
Then after that, I was staying with a friend in South Lake Tahoe, and then I was like, it was over the winter, so I was super isolated, and I was like, I'm going nuts, like just trapped in this house all the time in this town where I don't know anybody. And then I moved back to Portland, and I was working for. It's ridiculous. Like, why am I doing this to myself? I moved back to Portland. I was working for this interpreter firm, like doing customer service, like work from home stuff. And I was like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. 'Cause I'm just stubborn. I wanted to go back to Portland and like conquer it, but I think I realized I just hate it there. Like
I'm surprised you went back. The tear gas and everything. Somebody driving into your work. I was like,
I
this
don't
is
know
not
why
my
I did.
spot.
I think it was like, and then like all these people I knew from college, like everybody from U of O, everybody almost moves to Portland. So it was just like U of O 2.0.
Yeah, a lot of people from OSU did that
Yeah,
too.
exactly. All the Oregon schools are like, let's go to a big city.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
like, oh, okay.
like 9 bajillion people moving to Portland, and I wanted to like it so bad, but I mean, at least for me, the big like state colleges, they feel kind of like a popularity contest, like who's the coolest, hottest, who parties the most, and then in Portland it kind of just felt the same. So now I'm here.
Yeah, I think they like to congregate. Everyone
Mhm.
likes to go where they feel like they fit in.
It's just really clicky, and it kind of felt ingenuine.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be fake if I try. It's really hard, which is probably why I got fired, because my boss pissed me off, and I made him aware of it unintentionally. Just like my body language, you can really tell what I'm feeling. But I didn't really, yeah. So now I'm here. I don't know what I'm doing.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
I
Among many friends.
mean,
It seems.
yeah, I've got you. Wow, I can't believe. I mean, it was a shit show up in Portland. Is it better now? Was it better
Yeah.
like when you left?
Oh yeah. Even when
Okay.
I went back, I was living in Beaverton, which was like a little side neighborhood, which is it's technically its own city, but it's the same idea basically.
Kind of like right on the outskirts.
Yeah, it's where all the rich people that work for Nike live.
Oh,
I was
Okay.
cosplaying as a wealthy person.
just to see what it was like.
Yeah, and then I realized my job was paying me $11 an hour after taxes, and I was like, man,
I'm out.
this ain't it.
Deuces.
I want to go to a stinky town where everyone's stinky. Let's go. So I came back to Eureka. 'Cause in Portland, everyone's like hot and successful, or like they like to think they are.
So you came back here.
I'm
It's
like,
like,
I
oh,
wanna,
you saw the first homeless person. You're like, oh yes.
I'm like, these are
yes.
my people.
We're
I wanted
back.
to go to a place where I'm, even on my worst day, I'm still the hottest person in Winco.
That's not a high bar. That's the sad thing.
My bar is so low. It is so low, but it's higher than most people's here, so it feels good.
Yeah, as long as you're not like wearing cut off pajamas and a wife beater into Walmart, you've pretty much got.
Even then, I think that it would be a look. It's just, I think I could pull it off.
I think with the Ducks hat, or if you wore your Italian hat,
wear
I
this
think you'd be
hat
fine.
so
Yeah.
much. I'll wear my Roma hat. I think that might be. Is Roma an Italian team? It doesn't matter. It's like a soccer team. Roma's an Italian team. I've confirmed.
Oh, okay.
Liga.
That's what the hat is.
Yes, it's Roma's like a. I mean, I think they're in Rome. I'm gonna embarrass myself because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Welcome to my. That's 90% of what I do on here is just start talking and hope that it goes somewhere.
Well, I talk way too fucking much, so this is my
This is gonna be your jam.
shining moment. I have a lot to say about a lot of things.
Did you go see any soccer games out there?
I should have. I went to a lot of clubs. I went to a lot of like. I'm really like I partied hard. You obviously kind of have to. You're a 19-year-old in a foreign country, but I did a lot of like cultural events. Like I went to this live quartet in Venice. I went to Venice by myself, and there was these people playing like Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and it was the most magical, beautiful thing I've ever seen. I loved it so much. I went back twice. So I did a lot of like that. I went to Florence and went to like the big churches and stuff. I think Santa Croce is where like they have like. I don't know if his actual body is interned there, but they have like the grave of I think like Galileo and Da Vinci, and
Oh wow.
they have a shrine to Dante Alighieri.
I don't know who that is.
He wrote the Divine Comedy, like Dante's Inferno. You know, like 7 Layers of Hell guy. Yeah. Because he was from Florence, but he got banished, and he like died in Rimini, which is like a little town off in Italy. But they have a little like shrine to him. That church was so magical. I literally like wept. It was so cool. And then I got to go to, I think it's like called St. Mary of the Flower in English. It's the big dome. It's like one of the biggest domes in the world. And it's just made out of brick, like by hand. It's insane. And I got to climb to the top of that. I did a lot of that kind of thing, like cultural enrichment.
Yeah. I feel like that'd be 90% of it though, right?
It was
especially
magical.
back there, like the architecture would
Yeah,
just be
like
crazy.
Renaissance Italy. Oh, amazing. That was. I'm
and the
like,
pasta, come on.
Oh,
You can't
yeah.
discount that.
I had this salmon. I sound so pretentious. I have to bank off this 3 months of my life for the rest of my whole
This was-
existence.
It was enough experience to just carry you. Now you're like, okay, I'm
like,
set.
me as a 19-year-old was living a much different life than me as a 23-year-old. I'm gonna like milk that until I die. It was awesome. The salmon penne and capri.
Damn.
I sound like someone way outside of my tax bracket.
You sound like you should have had one of those cigarette holders and just been
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah.
I was pretending.
Yeah.
I was cosplaying.
So that was when you were 19. So what, like sophomore year of
It
college?
was the summer between sophomore and freshman.
Okay.
Yeah, I did like a little Italian language program in southern Italy, but I had a bunch of scholarship money, so I just used it to fuck around and go everywhere.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I took a 9-hour train from Lecce, which is like, it's like the heel of the boot. It's like southeast, all the way to Venice by myself. But for some reason I thought it would be like a plane where they like give you dinner.
I'm guessing they did
They
not.
did not give me dinner, so I just sat there for 9 hours not eating.
You didn't eat it all? Oh, shit.
I didn't know. My Italian was okay. It was like, you know, maybe like second year Italian level. It wasn't enough to understand that they weren't gonna feed
You're like,
me.
where's the waiter? What's
Yeah,
happening?
I thought they were gonna have like a little flight attendant. I don't know why. I thought that was on a train, but whatever.
They didn't have like a food cart or anything? Nothing.
If they did, I didn't know. I couldn't like get up. It was like nonstop. It wasn't like they had like a layover or something. Because it's just all the way to Venice. So I show up to Venice.
Just starving.
At like 5 p.m. and I'm like, bro, I'm gonna fucking die here. I don't remember where I got food after that.
Is it pretty safe out there?
No.
Oh. That's not what I was expecting you to say. You're like, yeah, I'm just traveling by myself. And it's like, oh, not safe.
I mean, relatively. Like, I'm sure there's less safe places. Like, you could be walking down Broadway at night and you'll probably have a worse time. But as a girl, especially, men in Italy are very presumptuous.
More so than the men here?
In a different way. Like, they'll, like, shout at you and, like, follow you home. And, like, men here will do that, but I feel like it's more romanticized there. It's like more culturally like a thing, especially if you're American. So I got followed home a few times. I would just like walk with my keys in my knuckles.
That's sketchy. They would just follow you home.
That happened to me a couple times. Or this one guy, I was like going to the market to get some cheese. I don't know why I remember that detail, but this guy was on a bike and he's like yelling at me in Italian. He's like, "You're so beautiful. Come follow me. Get on my bike." And I'm like, "Bruh, I just want to eat.
I just want my cheese."
But there's like, you cannot engage with them in any way. Even if you're yelling at them, you have to just like walk straight, eyes forward, not acknowledge that they're there, and they'll get bored. That is
Jesus.
Yeah. So it's like fine, but if you're unlucky, it's like shit can go down. Like if you like get lost or something, like it's a little suspect out there.
And they think that's just like part of the culture.
I mean, I'm sure everyone doesn't agree with that, but it is so much more rampant out there than here, at least in my experience. Like, like as a girl, you still get catcalled all the time, but there was all the time, constantly, like some
I would not have guessed that.
some
I thought they were like
random
more
dude.
romantic out there, like they just bring you a flower at work or something.
Some might. There was this one instance where I was like out with my friends and no shit, like 16 Italian men were like circling us and trying to make conversation, and they're like,
At one time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's creepy.
They're like this big group of homies, and I was just dying laughing. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. But they're all like horn dogs.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, bruh, I'm not. But it's an easy deterrent because they're all like 5'3".
Yeah, that's fair.
You know,
if it was like a 6'4" group of 16 guys, you'd be like, okay, this is.
I'm like, I could take you, Giovanni. Like, don't fuck with me.
Wow, I would not have guessed.
Yeah, especially in the southern, because where I was actually studying was southern Italy, and that's a little more like rural and like traditional, I guess. But traditional is also code for out of pocket, I think, in a lot of contexts.
In what ways?
Like
that?
The men are more fucking unhinged. They're not like modernized, quote unquote. So they just do whatever the fuck they want.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
Wow, so yeah, you had a little awakening out there.
I did learn that the best way to deal with men following you is to just pretend they're not there most of the time.
That does not seem like it'd be effective.
I mean, in Italy, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if they're really, it's gonna get dark. If they're really set on like catching you, they probably will. But for the most part, if they're just like shouting things at you, if you ignore them, then they'll go away. But if you give them any sort of attention, they'll like. It doesn't matter what.
It's
kind.
enough for them.
They're like they get egged on. They're like yeah. But I was just like, fuck.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna pretend you're not there. I had just gotten these Birkenstocks too when I was there, and I was super jet lagged. So I woke up in Florence at like 4:30 in the morning, and I walked like 20 miles in my Birks, just like walking around.
Birkenstocks are those Jesus sandals, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
okay.
lesbian/Jesus sandals. My Birkenglocks have taken me all over the world.
Birkenglocks. Yeah, those things are protective right there, right?
People always make fun of me for wearing them. I'm like, don't hate on the Birkenglocks.
I've heard that to be fair, I've heard they're super comfortable.
Mine have lasted me easily. How did I get them? Like 4 years, and I've worn the shit out of those, so they're like doing pretty good.
It's like a cork sole, right? And it like molds around your feet.
Yeah, mine are like, my straps are like suede. I love those things, but they are really ugly, to be fair. They're pretty...
Better than Crocs, though, right?
I do have a friend that is very passionate about Crocs.
Oh,
but
God.
I have not personally been in possession. You not a Crocs guy?
I'm not a Crocs guy. I gotta be careful, because those people are always trying to convert you. They're like, oh, they're so comfortable. And then next thing you know, they're wearing them everywhere. I see people wear Crocs to the gym, and I'm like,
ooh.
What are we doing?
I'm not about to wear my Birkenstocks to the gym.
Yeah. There's gotta be a line somewhere. But Crocs people, they don't have one.
They're mostly just like my lazy shoes, and they've lasted so long that I'm not like, I don't have like a burning passion for Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
I just own a pair by proxy.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I can't slip into that. I can't be wearing Crocs everywhere I go.
What's your
It's
preferred
not-
form of footwear?
I've got these minimalist shoes.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna try to convert you to this. They've got a 0 drop sole, so it's just like
You're
flat.
just right on.
Yeah, it's just flat.
Are you like one of those guys that wears those shoes that you can like, they have like the toe little
No,
glove
see, I'm not
parts?
that. Yeah,
You're not that deep into
that's
it.
like on the Crocs level for me. I'm like, what do you?
You're
just,
going all natural.
Yeah, just wear Vans or
You're
wear
like,
something
it makes
flat.
me feel more connected to the earth.
It spreads out your toes and it's like really good for your feet.
I'm like, my toes are chilling.
Yeah, I don't need that.
I've been wearing these Rochi runs for a solid 3 years, and they're so thrashed
Those are nice.
and vile.
3 years though, they look like they've held up.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, given how the wear and tear these suckers have gone through, they are doing me well.
Yeah.
I just got new shoes actually, but I haven't been wearing them because these are so comfy.
That's what it's. You just have to find a pair that's comfortable.
I need to break in the new one still, but.
So do you bike around a lot?
Um.
Oh, you said you don't have a car, right?
Yeah.
So biking.
So
is the
when
man.
it's raining though, like 'cause winter's coming, I'm just like,
Oh shit.
this is not gonna be fun in a few months. I had to ride down over like on this part of Harris a little bit ago. I didn't ride a bike in college at all. I was big into longboarding, like skating.
Oh really?
Yeah, and the only reason I have this bike is because my cousin loaned it to me. And this is the first time I rode it out of necessity, but I had so much fun. Like I forgot how it's so fun to ride a bike. I rode to like this appointment I had, then I rode all the way to her house. She lives like on Park Street. It was in Myrtletown, and then I rode all the way to Sequoia Park, and then I rode all the way back home on like the southwest side of town. I rode like 9 miles in 3 hours, and I was like, "Whoa, who am I?"
Training for a triathlon.
Literally,
now. It's a good way to get around.
It's honestly, Eureka's so small. Like everything feels a lot farther on foot because biking here would have taken like an hour and a half. I mean, walking here would have taken like an hour and a half. It was like 20 minutes. It's actually very pleasant.
Yeah, that's not bad. Are you listening to music? Where are you going?
No, I lost the case to my AirPods.
Oh shit! So, your life is just falling apart right now.
I literally have moved so many times. I like shed belongings every time. I'm like, dang.
You gotta leave it. Leave it where you found it.
Some of it's nice. It's like freeing, but sometimes I'm like, I really would love to have the case. I have the AirPods.
Yeah, the AirPods case would be nice.
I don't know how that happened. I have the AirPods. I think they're literally in my backpack right now.
Your case?
No, the AirPods.
Oh, I was gonna say, I know where the case is. I just haven't checked.
The case is gone forever. I don't know what happened to it. I had it before I moved into this new place, but it is gone now. So I'm just gonna buy a new one because I don't feel like.
Can you just buy the case?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like $70 still though. This is ridiculous. But I do have the AirPods at least because I don't have to get a whole new thing.
Yeah, then it's what, like $200? How much are AirPods now?
It depends on which gen you get. I think these are like $130. Yeah.
Damn.
They're expensive as shit.
And still $70 for the case. Holy
And they're so easy to lose. It's
Yeah.
like so dumb.
Did you see now they're selling like little tether cords and it makes it into like the OG
That makes
headphones
me,
where it's connected and it has a lightning port to your phone? It's like, why would you not just
I'm
get
angry.
Yeah, why would you not just get corded headphones then?
That is very Apple of them to do.
Yeah.
Like
And I think that is like probably $40.
getting rid of like the headphone jack, but then making an adapter for the headphone jack to come back.
Just to sell it to you.
It's like, this is so.
Yep.
But we keep buying it anyway.
Yep. Because are you going to go Android on anything?
Ew.
I know.
I'm not gonna do that.
The interface just sucks.
It makes me feel wealthy.
That's a good way to put it. It's like, this is my small bougie moment where I get to just like.
I have a MacBook, like a little MacBook Air, and I have my iPad, and I have my my half AirPods bundle, and I have my iPhone. I'm like, I can't do
Yeah.
it. I can't make the full transition.
And they get you because everything's connected.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I switch one thing, it's like, well, then what?
It's like, oh, neat, I can text on my computer. But when I really sit down and think about it, I'm like, I have been personally monopolized.
Yeah, and I don't even text. I thought that would be like the coolest feature. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can text from my computer. And then I shut all that off because I was like, all I'm doing is getting text. I'm like, I'm not getting anything done on my computer
Yeah.
anymore.
I wish I had that willpower.
Yeah.
Since just all the free time and the chaos, I've been like, especially going viral, my screen time is hideous. It's gross.
Well, you're famous now. You got to keep up with your
I
fans.
was famous for like a solid couple weeks. People have moved on, I think. Well, they like reposted my video on a bunch of like viral Instagram accounts. So I would like get a notification, like read all those comments. I was on the
Blows
front,
back up again.
I was on the front page of Reddit.
Whoa.
I was like, my friends were sending me screenshots they saw of me just like they're just going about their business, like watching YouTube shorts or something. They're like, I just saw you on YouTube. I'm like, what the hell? It's so funny. My therapist told me he saw that TikTok. I'm like, man.
Jeez. What is the world coming to? Everybody's on TikTok now.
I know. TikTok's gross. I hate
Everybody.
it. But I keep looking.
I was- Do you create anything else? I like your time lapse videos of your art.
I
really like that.
I just got a little like phone tripod and a desk, so I can start filming those again. On the iPad, it's cool because it like automatically does it. But
That's what you're filming with is your iPad?
No, like when I'm drawing on Procreate, like doing a digital piece, it will record like all the lines I'm making, so it makes its own time lapse.
Oh, that's cool.
You just have to export it. But when I do time lapses on like paper, it's a huge pain in the ass because I didn't have a tripod, and so I just like MacGyvered. So my setup for filming a time lapse was I would put a stack of relatively like 6 books, depending on the thickness of the novel. I would put a stack, or like I put a bottle of juice on top of the stack of books. I would tape a Sharpie to the lid of the juice and angle my phone correctly, like put the Sharpie in like a certain position on the cap. And then I would tape my phone like all the way around and make sure I was close enough to an outlet so my phone could charge, and then I would just film a time lapse. And it is so funny that
So it was a production for you to do that.
It was the
Wow.
whole thing. It was like a little bottle of Simply Orange. But considering how silly that was, they turned out pretty good.
I was going to say I would not have guessed. I thought you had a tripod the whole time.
Every single time lapse I've ever taken to date that is of me like actually physically drawing is filmed that way. But
Right, so you set that up and took it down each time.
Yeah, I would kind of leave the like book, and like sometimes the juice bottle was empty, sometimes it wasn't. To be perfectly candid, and I would just leave it there because I was like, wow. I would just leave it there throughout the duration of the piece and maybe like take a sip if I was feeling peckish or something. But now I'm a grown woman. I got a tripod.
It's like official now.
I think the fact that it was such a absurd series of tasks that had to be completed for me to film a time lapse is why I haven't done it in like 2 years. But we're about to be back in business.
Is that what you're posting on TikTok? Is like those videos? Or just pictures of your art?
So a lot of the time, instead of like an actual time lapse like filmed in real time, I will just take little clips of me drawing for like seconds at a time, and then those do pretty well. If I do just a time lapse, honestly, people kind of get bored of it. Like I find better engagement if I'm showing myself drawing in real time, even if it's like 2 seconds at a time, and then you can see the piece kind of progress through that method. But that's also way easier to do because if I'm drawing, if I like the thought occurs to me, I can just be like, oh, I should film for 2 seconds.
Do you think that's just because it's a shorter clip?
It's digestible, and then you also, like, I think based on the human attention span and how TikTok has ruined all of us, like, at least in my thinking, you're getting a different video every couple seconds, but a time lapse is like one interrupted thing.
Yeah, people can't sit still for that long
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. So if you're taking like short little clips, you typically will film, like, say you're drawing, I'm doing a portrait, for example. You'll film like yourself drawing the mouth, and then you'll film yourself drawing the hair. So you're looking at different parts of the portrait at the same time, getting to see what they're actually doing in real time. So it's interesting from like that perspective of like getting to witness the process, even if it's only a few seconds. So I've seen those to be a little bit more popular, but I also just don't have like the mental interest enough to like do that very often, or like put a lot of, because some people put a ton of like production energy into it, and for me it's just kind of like, look at my sketching. Like, I don't care that much.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get to a point where I do, but at this period of time, like, whatever. So I just do it sometimes.
Is that a big thing now, doing time lapse while you're creating the piece? Are a lot of people doing that?
I think so. Like, a ton of people are. Not everyone, but I kind of find at this point, though, since I've started to take my art a little bit more seriously and try to put it out there, and I have a website now, so I'm kind of like trying to promo it, especially because I just got fired. I'm like,
What's your website called?
It's philosophia-art.com.
Little plug.
Yeah, little tiny plug. I just make like prints at FedEx, which eventually I'll like make better ones, but that's what I'm capable of.
When you create a piece, are those all digital ones? No, so it's all by hand.
So it's kind of a mix. I recently have been doing more digital pieces. I find with digital it's a lot easier to go into like hyper realism and vivid detail because it has so many tools to support what you're doing. Like, you can put a grid on it, so like you make sure the proportions are correct, and you can do all these different brushes, and it's way easier to pick colors because like with oil painting, for example, you are doing everything by hand. You're mixing all the colors, you're drawing all the proportions yourself. So digital art is cool. It's still art, but it doesn't feel as gratifying because it's just so much more personal, like, to work with a physical item. And like I painted every stroke. I did this, because with an iPad you're just like, I'm laying on my bed with a little Apple Pencil, like scribbling around on it. But with my oil paintings, I am mixing all those colors myself. I have like 5 different colors I use. I use like a red, yellow, blue, like a brown, and a white, and then I mix every color myself, which is really fucking hard.
Yeah, I would bet.
And it takes way longer. So digital art's nice in the way that it's like super easy because I can just be like, bloop, there's my color. But it's just so much more satisfying when I can paint something really like masterful instead of using like kind of like cheating a little bit with digital art.
So when you paint a piece and somebody buys it, do you have to recreate that piece, or are they like one-of-one productions?
So what I will do is I'll take a good picture and like edit it so it's nice, so then I still have like a record of it, I guess. But if someone buys an original, they just get the original.
Okay.
If I were to remake it, it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have the ability to like completely 100% remake something. I can draw the same subject again or like use the same technique, but it just won't look the same because I feel like every creative process in and of itself is just a unique thing. You can't really recreate it in the same way.
Yeah, it'd probably be monotonous trying to
I also would
look at it and redo it.
The real reason is I would get so bored.
Yeah, I feel like that would be big.
Because I'm just so obsessive with detail when it comes to my work that I'm so burnt out on that subject. I've been staring at it for like 40 hours. I want to throw up. Like,
Jesus.
Yeah,
I don't even think I could do it for like 2 hours. I'd be like, okay, I can't do this.
Some of them take months to do, and it's not because I'm actually working on it for months. It's because it's like, I don't want to look at this anymore. A lot of the time, because when you're drawing, you are staring at it. Like, sometimes I'm like this close to the paper, like an inch away. You're staring at it very intensely, hyper focused for hours and hours and hours, and you can only see like the lines that you've made. You can't really see it for the piece that it is because you're the one who created it. It's hard to explain. It's hard to verbalize what I'm trying to say. But so sometimes after I finish something, I hate it. It's the worst drawing ever, and I can't look at it for a few months because after a few months, you're kind of like, your brain can just recognize it as a face again, because I do a lot of portraiture, so I'm like, damn, that's really good. But it's never right when I finish it. I'm always like super hypercritical, and I'm like, this line is weird, like this shape is strange, blah blah blah. But if I take a step back and then do other things for a while and go back to an old project, I'm like, shit.
Turned out pretty good.
I did that. Whoa.
I think that's part of being passionate about your work. I feel like
Mhm.
that drive makes you better.
I would imagine that same sort of thing appears in a lot of different
Yeah.
versions of creation. But for me, like, sometimes the perfectionism can really drag it down because it makes every piece feel like super high pressure. Like, if this isn't good enough, I'll die. Like, I'm not a good enough artist, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, as I get older, I'm better at kind of harnessing it as a superpower because it's like, instead of here's what I did wrong, it's here's what I can improve for next time. So since I learned to kind of flip that switch, I have gotten so much better, even the last year. Because I was already pretty good, but it's just like an upward trajectory since then. It's just going up, and it's really like very satisfying.
Yeah, that's a good way to frame it.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're not saying, oh, fuck you, like you did shitty on this. You're kind of like, okay, now I know what I can work
It's like
on.
I created something. I didn't have to. I just did it. Instead of like, I guess kind of, I think it's like every artist is kind of tortured by being like, oh, it could be better. Or like comparing yourself to other artists. But, you know, when you kind of break it down and really think about what you did, like, I was there for every single pencil stroke. Like, I drew every single hair on this person's head. I, like, sat there for hours and scribbled until it looked like a shape. Like, that is cool.
And I mean, your portraits are insane. Like, not to blow smoke up your ass, but like, I look at them and I'm like, holy shit.
Be careful, it'll go to my head.
Oh, yeah. But I think my favorite one is probably of the girl, and she's lying down, and there's that slit of light going across her eyes. I think that's probably my favorite
That one got a lot of attention on Reddit. And people
I read. Okay, you got to tell the story for people that haven't heard.
I forgot
But I
about
read that.
That is another event that I have experienced recently.
Which has got to be wild.
Okay, so like when I'm posting to social media, I do it fairly frequently, and most of the time it doesn't get that much attention. So I don't think about it that much. I'm like, a handful of people will see this. I made this thing. I'm excited. It's cool. I drew that. I think it was the second portrait I
Do you mind if I pull that up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Also, I want to pull it up just as you're talking.
Yeah.
I'll plug it. I'll put it in the a clip of it in the video.
It was like the second portrait I ever did on.
That was the second one you
on my
really?
on my iPad.
Okay.
Like on
still.
digital specifically. And I was like, this is cool. And then I was just copying a reference picture for practice, and I put that dumb little dagger in it. But I have a version of it without it. But I posted the one that had a stupid dagger that everyone hated, and it was ugly, and they were like, wow, you must have photoshopped. You traced this. You didn't draw this, blah, blah, blah. It was like a lot of vitriol.
Why were they? It was just about the dagger, right? They were like, "Oh, the face is so good." Then the dagger's like.
To be fair, it does look like dog shit. Like, I'm not gonna defend the dagger. It looks like shit. It was just like, it was similar to the TikTok where I just posted it and I was like, cool, and then forgot about it, and then a bunch of people were suddenly angry at me, and I'm like, I don't know how to handle this.
Did you go in and like try to defend yourself on Reddit saying,
well,
hey, like, listen? Because I read a post and the guy was like, you know, I pulled this into some other thing and was like analyzing the lines and all this. And I was like, what?
This guy wrote like a novel describing. I know exactly the comment you're talking about. He wrote like a novel saying how he pulled it into Photoshop and analyzed, like, I don't even remember what weird jargon he was using, but he was saying he analyzed the shapes and how it was too similar to the reference picture in comparison to the skill that was clearly lacking in the dagger, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, dude.
Like, who takes the time to do that? Like,
I'm like, in the time it took you to write this comment, you could have just diddled yourself and been quiet. Like, you could have spent this time leaving me the fuck alone. Yeah, that was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, because he, not only did he take all that time out of his day, he was also wrong.
Yeah. Which, first off, why? Like, why even? Why?
I don't know. Reddit's a little scary. TikTok's a little scary. Once you get past like 1,000 upvotes on Reddit, it starts to get a little dark. Like, the more it only got like 12K.
Like, the more popular it gets, the more people.
The more popular it gets, the worse the comments are. Like, someone was like, "Wow, so deep, so edgy." The original contention was they were saying I copied a painting done by Anna Rimini or something. I don't remember her name. But I didn't even know that painting existed, and she had used the same exact reference picture that I used.
Okay.
So it wasn't even her original image. And then people were mad because I it was like too similar to the reference picture, which honestly was fair. I learned something new. They're like, if it's too similar to the reference picture, you should just call it a photo study. I'm like,
I can't
okay.
pull it up. I'm struggling over here. I gotta get somebody in here to just do tech stuff for me.
Yeah.
So when you made that, you used a reference picture, like, just to look at for the face?
Well, I mean, it was pretty similar to the reference, because my purpose in making that wasn't like, I'm gonna steal this drawing.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm practicing using an iPad, and this is a cool picture, and I'm gonna draw it again, just to practice. Like, I wasn't trying to make like a big dramatic piece, but people said I was like profiting socially and stealing their thunder and all this shit. I'm like, what the? I literally don't know what I'm doing. Like, I never went to art school or anything. Like, I don't know shit about like the etiquette of art. So I wasn't trying to be an asshole. I'm just dumb. So I'm just ignorant. I was just like practicing, and that's all I thought it was gonna be. And I put the little dagger in, and I was like, this is kind of neat. And people were really angry.
That's so crazy.
They're so
People
upset.
just don't have a whole lot to do,
Yeah.
you know? And so they see something like that and they're like, I'm just gonna shit on this just for...
I'm like, you could move on. You don't have to think about me ever again.
Yeah, but why say anything in the first place? That's what I don't get when I see those comments. I'm like,
Yeah.
why take any time out of your day to...
There was another one I did. It was like that girl holding the mirror, and then you see I don't know if you saw this one, but then you see the
Yes.
reflection, and she has the horns.
Yes.
So that one I posted
And she's
as
like
well.
looking down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I posted that one too, and someone was like, it was so cool of you to use two mediums. And I was like, I don't know what you mean. Can you elaborate? Because this is just digital painting. And he was like, you took a picture of yourself holding up your painting. It looks great. And you put yourself in a costume. And I'm like, this is all a drawing, dude. I'm flattered, but this is just the whole thing. And he was like, you're a fucking liar.
Oh, God. See, why not just say, wow, that's incredible. I thought it was a photo.
He immediately changed his tune. He was like, why are you lying? Who are you trying to impress? And then he got downvoted a bunch. And then he was like, to everybody downvoting me, OP is a fraud. Or like, and I was like, what the hell?
That's got to get so frustrating.
You kind of have to like...
I mean, I get the feeling like you just brush it off and you're like, fuck this.
I wish that like, you can say that. I wish that I take everything personally.
Oh, no.
I take all
Oh,
personally.
no.
Like, there's a certain degree to where, like, with that guy, I didn't, like, go home and cry about it. I was just, like, I just get mad. I'm just like, fuck you, dude. You don't know me. I get a little too aggro about it. But once it comes in such a high volume, you kind of go numb to it. When you're getting, like, a shitload of comments from random people, it's like, whatever. But sometimes they do really piss me off. And there's, like, a little voice in my head that's like, it doesn't matter. Move on. I'm like, no, I have to fight them. Like, we have to physically brawl about this.
Does it happen a lot? Is that like a common thing when you're putting your pictures out there?
Lately it has been. It didn't used to be, but I take it as a compliment.
Just means you're getting bigger.
Yeah, getting bigger and better. But because I don't like get a lot of attention like that very often. I think it's happened like twice this year, which is cool. Like I'm glad for that much attention. It's a good sign. I think any attention is good attention. You know?
People keep saying that, and I'm like, I don't know, guys.
I don't think I mean that.
Yeah, some people get attention, and it's like...
No, the hospital attention kind of
birds
sucks.
of... Yeah. Did it really? Just because...
It honestly got really stressful.
Really? Just because people were reaching out trying
I
to
think
talk
it
to
was
you?
just like such a high volume of commentary and people being like, don't listen to this stupid bitch, she's a liar, she's being paid. And I was like, I just thought this video was funny. I just have asthma, I don't know.
Like, they just put me outside with blankets. How am I not going to film this?
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
And they were like, you must not have been that sick if you could take a video. Or a lot of people were saying like...
Oh, that's what I heard, that you got COVID and the beds were
That's
like
what a lot of people were
completely
saying.
filled up, and so they
And they
just
were
put
like,
you outside.
fuck you, bitch, you have COVID. And I'm like, I have the vaccine.
I just got asthma.
Yeah. So a lot of people, it's just like so many hot takes. I had to turn the comments off a few times just because it was so like mind-numbingly irritating. It's easier to ignore comments when you're not getting notified every 10 minutes of like someone saying some fucking dumb shit to you. Like, and I just like, I kind of like hyper focus on things, and which could be positive or negative. And I literally, after that video started going viral, I think I stared at my phone for like 9 hours straight.
Damn.
Because I could not look away.
Just watching it blow up.
That's never happened to me before, like even resembling that. And the fact that I got interviewed for the news And then like people were like, I saw this on Newsweek, I saw this on blah blah blah. If for a little period of time, if you Googled my name and asthma attack / hospital, there was like 6 different articles from like there was like Independent in the UK wrote one, some random thing in Spain wrote an article about me. I was like, what the fuck? So it was just like constantly unfolding and becoming more and more bizarre. So I just could not look away. It was crazy.
And I mean, when you've got, I would imagine thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people were commenting, and so your phone's just dinging, dinging,
I turned
dinging.
notifications off, but
It still probably doesn't help because you're like, I'm just
I'm
gonna
like,
take
I
a
want to
peek.
see. But then for a few days, every time I opened my phone, I had 200 notifications. I was like,
That's a lot.
I'm like, I can't not look. I can't ignore this. This is crazy. That lady though, when I got interviewed, I forget her name. It's like Megan something. She's apparently very famous. She's like, she has like an Emmy. She won an Emmy or something. But I was at my aunt's house because we were literally like getting a U-Haul and driving from Portland to Eureka. It was the day we were moving, and we just did it early in the morning so we can get it over with. And she interviewed me in my aunt's bedroom. Like I had to prop.
I saw the little zoom. Yes.
I propped the phone up.
You
on,
just look like you're like, what the fuck is going on?
You
like,
could literally
what is
see
happening?
me.
Yeah.
Like it's
Just
almost
disbelief. Like, what am I doing?
It's
right
almost
now?
like they edited it to make it like a shit post. It was so funny. You can like see visibly that I'm trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
And then like your 5.1 million viewers are watching me clearly like cracking my shit up. Like I was dying laughing. I had the phone propped up on a candle.
This was pre-tripod.
Yes. Well, I was at my aunt's house too. Pre-tripod. And I was like sitting at her desk, and they like, you can see pictures of my cousins in the background. I'm like, sorry, Jason, you're on TV. And she was literally in the bathroom, like taking a shit the whole time.
Jesus.
It's just really like hysterical.
Just like, what is happening? What is life right now?
It was just goofy as fuck. It's probably the single most hilarious thing that will ever happen in my life.
I don't know. You're still pretty young.
Given my trajectory.
Yeah, you might. This might just be the first level.
I did, when I was in Venice, I did see a gondolier punch an American in the head. That was pretty funny.
Wow.
So that's up there as well.
Okay. See, that was level 1. This is level 2.
Yeah, we'll see what else will
Check
unfold.
back in a year. It's gonna be pretty exciting.
I know. I'm excited to see where life takes me next. Just got fired. It's opening up all these doors for me.
I know.
Opening up the door to drink this Truly at 4 p.m. and then go home and take a nap.
Yeah, but now in a weird way, like you have more time to work on your art. So you
Yeah.
get another job.
I did just get a commission. I'm drawing someone's dog,
Okay.
which as an artist, there's like a running joke, especially on TikTok in particular. There's a running joke of like people always ask you to draw their fucking dogs.
Is that a big thing?
People
I was
always.
gonna say.
Well, for me, a lot of the commissions I get, because I do realism, they're like, will you draw me and my girlfriend? And I'm like, oh, I really don't want to do that. But I will, because you're paying me. I get a lot of people make me want to have me do like memorial pieces for people, which is cool. Like some people will be like, oh, my grandpa just passed. Can you draw this picture for me and my mom? So I'm always happy to do those. But I did have one person who was like, asked me to draw him and his girlfriend. And they're like a military couple, which is fine, whatever. But they're like long distance. And then he had me write her a love note on the back of it. He was like, my darling sweet pea, you are my moon and I am the stars. And I was like, so sometimes I do get some shit like that.
Jeez. Yeah. Do you like doing that?
I hate it.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure.
Like violently, I
yeah,
hate
okay.
it.
Because your stuff seems dark.
Yeah.
But that's what I like
Yeah.
that. Like, I like that kind of shit.
It's kind of the type of art that, like, no shit, my grandma, after I post something on Facebook.
I saw oh my god,
she'll
that was
call me
I
and
was
be like-
dying laughing for probably 10 minutes when I read that. That was on that picture of that girl,
the
right?
one you were talking about.
Sorry, what did you
I was
gotta say
like-
what you said.
I think I said, like, I think the caption of it was, here's my new drawing, and yes, grandma, when you see this, I'm okay, so you don't have to call me. Because she has called me several times to, like, check on my well-being after I posted a picture. And I'm like, that's sweet. No, I'm not really great right now, to be honest. But here's this art I made. But at that period of time, I was okay.
I like that though. That's why I was wondering. I was like, I don't know if you're gonna like. Do you like doing the dogs too? Because there's nothing wrong with that, but
I'm not drawn to it.
yeah,
It's not something that comes naturally to me. Like, animals are cool and all, but I think for me, what I'm most passionate about, I used to draw a lot more different subjects. I kind of feel bad. Like, I'm like, I should branch out a little more, but I just feel really drawn to portraiture and just like like the emotions of the human experience. And what I have kind of gathered through my art that I find really compelling is like the subtlest different line or shape, or where you choose to smudge or where you choose to draw like a shadow, it really changes the read of the picture. And you can get so much of an emotional story just from a facial expression. And there's so many different subtleties and muscular differences in tone that indicate a completely different thing. So that's what I feel more like compelled to create, rather than like, here's my cute dog, you know?
Yeah.
So nothing against the dogs, but it's the real drive for me to keep creating is like getting in connection with that emotional part of a human, of just like being a person. That's why I think I do so much self-portraiture. I draw myself a lot. To the point it's kind of silly. I'm like, I should stop doing that.
Are you taking a picture of yourself when you're doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's a lot of embarrassing selfies in my
Just
phone.
hundreds of photos, like, not that one.
And sometimes I'll take one because I have an idea, and then I'll never actually like draw it, and I'll just be looking through my pictures, and I'm like, this is awkward, but I can't delete it because
It could be something.
it's material.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I'll take, like, I'll be crying. I'm like, I should take a picture of this.
Oh, God.
Not that I'm gonna like post it, but it's like a good reference picture. It started initially because I think I was like 17 or 18 when I started like drawing myself, because it's a pain in the ass to find a reference picture. So I'll have a picture, like an idea in my head of like some pose I want to draw or like a concept, and I just will like be Googling very specific things, but none of them really meet what I'm trying to get at because I can't draw realistically out of my head. So I started posing for myself, and then it actually became like a really good way for like self-reflection, because I think a lot of the time you can't, you know, you can feel your own emotions and you understand your own experience in a way, but when you see it outside of yourself and something that was created like organically and without like having to think about it, you know, it's very telling, I guess, to yourself about what you're experiencing. Because I think with life, it moves so quickly, it can kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit, you know, and not really understand yourself at certain points. And for me personally, it's been really like medicinal almost, and being able to kind of ground back into myself and what I'm feeling and what I'm experiencing, and kind of pushing myself forward into the future. So I think that's...
Do you feel like you get to process those emotions as you're
yeah.
working through the art? Yeah.
Big time. And I don't, it's not even necessarily conscious. It's kind of like an unconscious process almost. Like when I'm making a piece that I have an idea for and it kind of develops into something else, it's very telling of like what's happening in my inner world, I guess.
Like little moments in your life are
Mhm.
captured in those.
Yeah, so it's like, especially when there's a lot going on, like with the pandemic, it's kind of hard to just even be present at all. So then it's almost like reading a story someone else wrote me about myself. It becomes a lot easier to...
Oh, that's a cool way to think about it.
Yeah, because, I mean, art is weird. It's something that's like kind of outside the realm of logic all the time. And that's why we have the arts, because there's certain things that we as humans need to express that we can't really say in words or say with like a mathematical equation. So even as an artist, there's things that come out in my art that I'm like, they're kind of like revelations. I'm like, whoa.
Well, that's the cliche, right?
Yeah.
A picture's worth 1,000
Exactly.
words. But it's true, and that's why it's
Mhm.
cliches, because everybody says that.
And that's why I kind of am like, drawing myself is cool. And it's been really therapeutic for me, honestly. And it's also just doing that as a form of therapy has also allowed me to technically, like just using my technical skill, get a lot better. So it's kind of a double whammy, pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you prefer drawing yourself, or is it harder that way? Using yourself as like a reference.
I think I've done it so many times now that I'm kind of like just memorize what's
I mean,
there.
you don't even need a picture anymore.
I'm like,
You're like, how am I feeling?
I really know what I look like. It's kind of problematic because I'll draw a different person, but like maybe vaguely similar looking to me, and everybody would be like, oh, this is a nice drawing of you as a blonde. I'm
Oh, like features kind of carry over.
yeah, I'm like, oh shit, I need to draw different
It's
people.
not supposed to be me.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to draw boys.
So when people, does anybody commission you and just say, okay, I just want this kind, like I want something dark, but I want you to run with it.
I haven't gotten a lot of those actually. It's mostly like, so like recently I had someone's father recently passed away. They didn't have any pictures with him, so they had me take 2 different pictures and kind of mesh them together to make a memorial piece. I do stuff like that. Someone's having me draw their dog, like I said. I get a lot of like sentimental, like family portrait requests.
That seems like a waste of potential. Like, I'd be like, okay, just run with it. Just here's the money, just run with it. I just want something cool.
You know, I fucking wish.
Yeah, right?
That'd be sick. But for the most part, you know, and it feels good to like be able to create something that someone will have in their household for a long time. Like it's important to their family, but creatively it's kind of like I guess.
Yeah.
It's hard to make myself want to do it. I'm not very disciplined, honestly. Like I will procrastinate so hard.
Shit, you're talking to the wrong guy. That's me 100%.
I used to be. College really took it out of me, man.
Funny how it does that. It kind of beats it out of you.
I used to be like so on my shit. I was like the top 5% in my graduating class in high school. I got a full ride, and then by the end of college, I was like
fuck this.
I'm like, mm-mm.
Yeah, I tried, you know, and then you're sitting in class with like 400 other kids and the teacher's not really even lecturing, and it's just like, okay, I got really into the stock market because like I've got all this time, I'm sitting in class, like might as well do something productive.
I feel like my attention span has died in a hole since college.
Yeah.
I just like, it was like so overstimulating socially, you know, just everything about it was like so much, especially being from a small town. I don't think I realized like just the sheer volume of shit that would be happening at all times.
Where'd you move where you went to high school?
I lived in like around Medford. I live in Central Point. So it's
Central Point's pretty small.
It's pretty tiny.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
it's smaller than Eureka, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it's around like, but it's touching Medford. Like they literally are separated by a road.
Okay.
So and Medford's like 90 to 100,000 people now. So it's like arguably bigger than Eureka. Central Point itself is smaller, but it's pretty much Medford.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was a kid growing up in Humboldt, we would go visit my aunt in Medford, and there was an escalator at the mall. I thought that was the coolest shit ever because Humboldt has nothing. Yep. So when I moved there, I was like, this is the big city, but it's fucking Medford, Oregon. It was the same when I moved to U of O because it's in Eugene, and there's like 200,000 people in like the metropolitan area, and I was like, I'm living large in the big city. But then people from like the Southern California would go to U of O and like, this is such a small shitty town. I'm like, what do you mean? There's so many people here. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out, right? Everybody wants to go to the big city, and then you get there and it's like,
Also, Eugene, now that I'm older, the concept of Eugene as a big city is really hilarious.
Yeah. It's nice though. I really like Eugene.
It's beautiful and U of O's cool because it's super walkable, and I could like longboard everywhere, and it's right on the river too. And then the edge of campus, if you just cross the street, there's this big river trail that goes to the football stadium, but that trail goes for like 6 miles. You can go forever, and it's really nice and paved. That's I think what I miss the most is like being so close to the water, and like it was like the nature there was so nice. Mm-hmm. I do miss it a lot, and like your friends are like 3 blocks away.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about college, right? Is everyone's so close.
Yeah, but that can also be kind of the downfall. Like,
true.
When shit goes down, everybody's still right there.
True. Yeah, when shit hits the fan, it's like, fuck, you can't get away from everybody.
Yeah, like when me and my ex broke up, it was like,
oof.
All these people are everywhere.
Oof.
Yeah, and then I feel like, at least in my experience, going to like a big state school, it's like so cliquey and like gossipy. Everybody knows all your business. It's hard to feel like a normal person. Like,
I felt that way about OSU, but it was because they all went to high school together. So it's like you show up and it's like, oh shit, you all are basically high school 2.0 over here. It's like,
and
okay.
People, like, I was shocked by how cliquey people were, like how mean, because we're all in our 20s. But it was almost like worse than middle school for me at some points. People were just so like aggressively mean.
Oh really? I didn't get that from OSU.
Yeah, maybe it's my bad luck.
Did you guys have? Do you think that tied into like frat life? Was frat life big?
Sure, yeah, 100%. Even the people that didn't engage with it, it just created like a weird
space.
Because U of O is like very traditional state school, like college experience, you know, like the frats and the parties and the blah blah blah, and so you kind of get sucked into that like movie expectation of what college is like. So it's hard to kind of like sync, at least in my personal experience, it was hard for me to like figure out who I actually was and without the context of like, this is what will make you cool and make people want to hang out with you and invite you to their parties. It was hard for me to like chill out and like relax and just
break out of that mesh, right?
And make friends with people that I actually wanted to be friends with instead of like having like party friends that didn't actually give a shit about me.
Yeah, that you see every Friday night.
Yeah.
Like, hey, and then you just never talk to until the next party.
Yeah, and then when school's over, it's kind of shocking how many people you just never speak to again.
Yep. Yeah, that's part of it, right? It's that culture of frat life is kind of weird when you think about it.
It's almost like consumeristic. It's like
That's a good way to put it.
it's like people are like just very disposable to you.
And you're kind of buying into this idea of like store-bought friendship.
Exactly. And then there's always like something better like, flying off the shelf. So it's like it's hard to form real like genuine attachments with people because it's like especially with like dating apps and shit, it's like, well, there's always so much something better. Like I could buy something new off my phone, you know, that kind of same thing. It's hard to like settle into your own individuality and your own relationships because there's always like better things being shoved into your face. That's why I personally had a hard time, at least.
Yeah, I think relationships are way harder now because of that.
And the
because
whole
there's always
internet's
something in your
watching
pocket.
if your relationship survives or fails.
True.
Yeah.
And everybody's just posting those promo pics of their relationship.
Literally,
online.
that's a great way to put
Yeah,
it.
that's all it is.
It's like, look at us, we're in love, but they actually just like screamed at each other in the fucking car right before that.
That one moment where they took the photo was the only time they were happy, and then it's like, okay, now we're just, what are we doing?
I'm like been on my phone so much lately, but I think at least in a good way, I'm able to kind of see through the veneer of that a little bit, but it still gets to you. Like when you're kind of like down and out and your circumstances have definitely been better in the past and you're just watching all these people like be successful. It just fucks with your head a little bit. But my excuse is always like, well, I can't delete it. Like I have to post my art.
That's exactly how I am with this. I'm like, I need it for podcast promo. Like I can't get rid of it.
It is true. My problem is I'm not very good at regulating my use of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's where I am.
I cannot find a happy middle ground where it's like, I need this for my art, for my like little side hustle, and if I want to make it into a bigger business eventually. But then I'm like, let's see what Nancy's doing with her weird boyfriend. Like, it's just gross. I'm like, I need to stop, but I can't.
I got so bad at the beginning of the pandemic that I was mindlessly scrolling through my email. That's how bad I was. Like, it wasn't enough just to go through Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Like, I had to go.
Just read.
Yeah.
That is really funny.
Yeah, it was so, and I was like, what the fuck? What am I doing? And it's like 90% spam email, and then
I've always been a big sucker for my email. I used to get made fun of.
It gets me.
I used to be made fun of by my friends in college because we'd get home from a party at like 3 a.m. I'd be fucking checking my email.
Okay, I was never that bad.
I'm like, sorry, I have to see when this assignment's due. Like,
it's made to be addicting. Is the problem.
What makes it worse is I know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what I'm doing and why it's bad for me, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, whatever.
Just keep going.
It's the same with vaping. It's the same shit. Like I think with the pandemic, I just became so much less resilient to these like little dopamine bursts because there was nothing happening. It's like everything's been pretty empty since then. There used to be so much going on, so now I have to kind of manufacture things going on by staring at my stupid mechanical box that's watching me all the time.
I feel like it's that addiction, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like we just need that constant stimulation of
something to look at.
Something to look at.
For me, it's almost like something to do with my hands.
Yeah.
It's not even like the substance itself or what I'm doing or what I'm looking at. It's just like I cannot sit still anymore.
Do you get those phantom rings where it's like, oh, my phone just buzzed?
Yes.
And then it's like, nothing happened.
Oh, no. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's the downfall of our society. I need to fucking cleanse my mind. This is what I was trying to do, where I was like, I'm going to stop looking at my phone. I'm going to stop drinking. I'm going to be healthy and exercise. And now I'm just like, I didn't work out. Here I am.
Yeah. That's what I like about this is I have to put my phone down for the conversation.
And you're actually like talking to a human being.
Which, how often does that happen in real life? It's like
that you otherwise probably wouldn't have been talking to.
Yeah. And we're like actually engaged with each other.
Yeah.
I'm not checking my phone. You're not checking your phone. We're not like, oh yeah, okay. Oh cool.
Mm-hmm. I know. Cutting grads. Cutting grads 2010. Never die.
God, lifetime ago.
What class were you? I don't think you were in my class. I had Nelson.
I had 6th grade. I had Mitchell for 6th grade.
Dude,
I don't know. Did we have a class
together
at Cutting? I don't think so.
Because I had O'Leary in 5th grade.
I had Haig in 5th.
I think I was just aware of you.
Yeah,
on the
I've always known about you, and I knew about your art in high school, which is I had a conversation
I think we were
with
just
somebody.
like Facebook friends.
Yeah, probably, and I just saw it. And
wow,
was like, oh,
I didn't realize I had such a far reach.
You're pretty famous. You were famous pre blowing up on the news.
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting too, because like, if you don't get a lot of engagement on your posts, you kind of get down on yourself.
Yeah,
but there's some people that you will never know, like think about you all the time. And that's something I struggle with a lot, is like getting really down, like getting really in my own head of like, if I'm not getting like a parade thrown for me in my art every day, I'm like, wow, I suck, I'm a failure. But then I like go outside and breathe fresh air. I'm like, wait, it's cool. I'm okay. I'm like, oh, I've been in my room for 2 days. Maybe I should go outside.
I'm kind of the opposite. It freaks me out when people are like, not that this is like super huge and people are like, oh my God. But whenever somebody says, oh, I saw your podcast, I get really uncomfortable. I'm like, oh, I'm
Podcast
sorry.
is like, if someone comes up to me and is like, I saw you, I'm like, don't perceive me.
Yeah.
My art is different because I'm not there. Like, you can't see me.
True.
It's just like, look at this cool shit I did.
But I would argue your art is more intimate than this.
Yeah.
Because like that's a real piece of you.
I am honest to a fault, like in every way. Like, so my art is very truthful. Like, it's just, I can be like, oh, it's about this, but if you really just look at it, like, that's what I'm feeling. That's what's happening.
What was your favorite piece?
Ooh, that's tough.
Or what was the piece that challenged you the most?
Oh man, I think I have this one that I did a few years ago. It's a picture of me. It's done in graphite, but like half of my face is underwater. I can show you a picture.
Yeah.
I can find it. I don't know if they'd be able to see it in real
If
life.
you want to text it to me, I can put it up on the. Put it up on the screen.
Okay. Should I text your like actual phone number?
Yes, I will show it to you.
What is it? I'll have to tell all your fans so you don't get doxxed.
I'll get random calls in the middle of the night. Stop doing your podcast.
Secret mission. I think that's right. Okay, let me see if I can find it. It might take a second. But this one I think was challenging because it's not necessarily my favorite visually, but I think it was a good period of growth for me because I fucking hated it. Like, this is one of the ones where I just straight up was like, this sucks. I hate this. But I took a break and then I looked at it later and I was like, damn, dude, what do you mean you hate this? Like, holy shit. Because it's like, this is when I started to kind of take it to the next level and push myself beyond what I could do at the time. And even though now I think my art is I've probably made a better piece than this objectively, this is the one where it started to kind of flip for me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. I hated it. I was like, this sucks.
Really?
Yeah. But like, I drew every vein, every freckle, like.
That's crazy. Like, I wish I could do. I do stick figures, and I'm like, oh damn, that turned out pretty good. And that's the extent of my skill.
I hated that one because I think, like what I was explaining earlier, is when you are so intimately
You were just
involved,
too close.
I had been staring at it. I think I worked on that one for like 7 hours straight, and it was like 9 a.m. I was like, wow. I'd started at like 3 a.m. I like just worked on it all through the night, and it almost like you can't see it like a normal person would see it because you've been staring at it for so long. You kind of start to dissociate and like you just see everything wrong with it. And to me, it was like, it's too flat. Like the hair doesn't look good enough. Blah blah blah.
That is so crazy.
But
I mean, with your art, right? You can nitpick everything. But...
Yeah, and I think it's a good like microcosm of just people in general with themselves.
Yeah.
And to me, being able to be present to those experiences and my reactions to my art has like created a whole different way of thinking just about everything in my life, about my relationship with myself, period. Because it's like, my reaction to my art is so aggressive for no fucking reason. Like, look at that.
It's really good.
And I was doing nothing but telling myself what a piece of shit it was. And I talk to myself in the same way, and I'm like, this needs to be done. Like, we can't be doing this.
I think it's a fine line. I think you need some of that to push you to be better, right?
Yeah.
But it can consume you.
Yeah.
You could think, oh, this is just shitty, and then never progress.
I'll see if I can
and never put it out.
Exactly. I'll see if I can find the other one you wanted to show in here somewhere.
How long did this one take you?
A couple weeks. Yeah. But then after that, let me find. I think I got a lot better with like realism at least, and just like, because this one, it feels like it's lacking depth. It's a little scratchy, like the hair is a little silly, but now I can give that objective review and not like beat myself up for it. It was just like, I had never tried to do something so detailed. But then there's like this one. I went hard on this one, but I still have a lot of problems with this one, to be fair. Hold on. I don't know how to use technology under pressure.
Preaching to the choir.
I'm like, people are watching. I have an album of my art, but it's like deep in here. Let me find it. you can kind of see me progressively get better. This is a little bit after I did this one. It's downloading from iCloud.
Did you have a reference photo when you were doing this?
Yeah, I took a picture of myself in the bathtub, actually. It's one of those really embarrassing pictures that no one will ever see. This is fucking weird. But I just thought it was interesting to try to tackle the water because that's something I've never done before.
I mean, that is insane. When you're using a reference photo, are you trying to capture it like 100%, or are you using it more to see how like the body lays in certain conditions?
I think it's more the latter.
Okay.
Like, it's nice to get that realism because the more accurately you copy it, the more realistic it is. But I'm not necessarily super caught up on if it's an exact match. It's more that it's like a study of how shapes are, because nothing ever really is shaped how you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to draw is not only using your hands, it's also a certain type of seeing. And so if I'm like really intensely studying how someone's face looks or like the way the shadows lay on the form, it's all in the eyesight, and like the hands are just like the vessel for the eyesight to be portrayed, I think. Let me see if I can fucking get this shit to work.
I think that's just insane. Like, to be able to capture that much detail and like put it on paper. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As someone who's not artistic at all,
I
like
mean,
that just
to be
blows my
perfectly
mind.
honest, sometimes I look at my shit and I'm like, who do I think I am? Who did that? Who is she? If this will let me load this picture.
Would you say this is your favorite piece too?
I don't think it's my favorite. I just am appreciative of it. Like, it's not my favorite aesthetically. I just am appreciative of it because that's when shit started to change.
Yeah.
When I was like, no, I can do this.
Yeah.
Come on. Let me see. Sorry.
So how long have you been doing portraits for? Not to just try. I feel like I'm like fucking you up with questions as
I got it.
Okay.
I got it. It's sent. Forever. Like,
Forever.
I've been doing them always. There's this. My grandma has actually all these like little books I made as a kid of like, this is a drawing of me.
Oh, that's so cool.
And they're so funny. I wonder if I could find one. I might not be able to, but it was like the beginning of it all. It's like this
Where it
like
started.
first grade assignment where you had to draw yourself. And she kept them all, which is really cool. So because I've been drawing portraits since I was like 6, since I understood what a face was pretty much, and like could make it happen.
Was anybody else in your family artistic like that, or you just kind of picked it up?
My aunt is actually really good at drawing.
Okay.
It actually runs in my family. My grandpa could paint, like, but my family is weird. Like, we're very working class, like blue collar, and they just anything like talent. They're kind of like, they all have kind of a chip on their shoulder. They're kind of negative about themselves, which is another reason why I'm like making an effort to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh, I'm not that good, and they never really pursued it to the degree that I have.
Oh, there we go. I didn't see
so this is like a more recent one that I personally think is way fucking like it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of a similar vibe, like in the bath with the water, but it's like it's next level compared to the last one, I think.
That is so crazy. Come on.
That is colored pencil, charcoal, graphite, and ink. And I drew
I'm sitting here thinking like you could give me a pencil and paper and 10 years and it would be a stick figure, like a little face, and I'm like, okay, this is what I've got.
Can we take potty breaks? Is that allowed?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We can pause here. Can we take potty breaks? You know, pretty intense conversations because that's part of it. And they were like, "Oh yeah, we heard this," and I'm like, "Oh, that's exciting." I'm sorry.
Uncomfy.
Guess we can't speak anymore, but yeah, that always, yeah. I'm sure you get that way when you put out like with your grandma, you put out a piece and it's like, I'm okay, like everything's good. This is just what I'm doing.
I have to like emotionally detach myself from it.
Yes, that's a good way to put it.
Because I think I'm like very vulnerable with my art in that I'm sharing things, but like I'm not like emotionally, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's like, yes, this is out there, but I'm like almost not giving people the power over me that it might. I don't even know how to so much of this I don't know how to actually say out loud.
No, I kind of get that. I feel that in that like in order to do this, like you have to put a piece of yourself in it.
Yeah.
But then it's weird because like I'm talking to you about it, right?
Yeah.
So like if we're getting deep, it's between us, but there are also
there's
other people
technically
listening.
people watching.
Yeah.
But they're not like sitting here in the room.
Yes.
So you almost like, because a lot of time people are like observing my art. They're not like next to me talking to me about it. So it's not like I'm sitting there like
This is what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, this
as
is
I'm
related
making
to my
this.
trauma, blah, blah, blah. So it's it's the same with like the TikTok too. It's like you can almost like separate yourself from it.
Yeah.
Plus, there's also no way like physically possible to emotionally connect with the fact that 8 million people watched me wheeze in a parking lot.
Yeah, what is that? I mean, what does 8 million people even look like?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think past like 12. My brain is
That's a good number. 12 solid. I was gonna say like 8, but
8 to 12.
because that's like you made something that 8 million other people have seen. What?
Like, I cannot fathom that. I'm like, I really would be so cool if that would happen with my art.
I think it's gonna happen.
You know, it's hard to sustain this feeling, but just because, you know, like this piece versus the last piece, this was done either this year or last year. I believe it was this year. And that one I showed you before this was done in 2019, so it's like a 2-year difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I was already pretty good before, and I'm just like still on the come up. So I kind of feel if I keep at it, like some shit's gonna work out for me.
I just think that's it. I mean, the depth in this picture is like what gets me, you know?
I am a big fan of the hair.
That's your favorite part?
Yeah. Just because hair is such a bitch. A lot of the time, like in the previous one, I just like took a charcoal little thing and I just scribbled it because I was like, But this one, I took a marker and I did every single little part of it.
Jesus.
And I went back through with like, I have these like white paint pens that I use for highlighting. So like the little like the breaks in the hair, like around the crown of the head, I did with like I took a little streak of the white and I did just a little shape, and then I would go over it with the black to make that kind of line. If you can see what I'm talking about, how it's a little more highlighted up around the temple. And this one, a lot of time with graphite, what I'll do, sometimes I won't do this, but what adds a lot of depth is I'll start with just a pencil. So like with this one, I started with just a pencil, did all the shapes and everything, and then I went over it with a marker. So I do ink, like around the eyelashes, the eyebrows, like a little bit in the corner of the eye, and the nostril, and the hair, obviously. And it creates a lot more definition and like brings it out a lot.
I really like the eyes, and then I mean the whole face. I really like I'm just sitting here like, holy, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then that's a song lyric from the song. It's called Paul by Big Thief. So I just heard that lyric and I was like, I'm gonna draw this picture.
See your gentle baby, I couldn't stay, I'd only bring you pain.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Emo.
I like that.
And then she's like smoking in the bathtub, like, I'm too hard, sorry. I had to leave you because I'd hurt you.
All in your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you feeling at this particular moment when you were writing this?
I mean, to be fair, I think it's just like thinking about how I like emotionally destroyed my ex-boyfriend.
Sitting in the bathtub smoking a cigarette.
And,
I like that. That ties
emotionally
into it.
destroyed myself in the process of emotionally destroying him.
Wow.
It's been like 3 years. I'm still butthurt about it. Maybe he'll see your podcast.
He's gonna reach out now. Hey, I saw you on this podcast.
I'm like,
let's talk.
Oopsie.
Relationships are weird like that, right?
I don't think I do that anymore. That last one, I
took a lot out of you.
I made so much art and like poetry just based on that. I'm like, damn, this shit really got to me, man.
It's great inspiration, though.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta funnel it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Dating another person's weird, like the concept of it, because you pull. Everyone likes to talk about energy, and it sounds so cheesy when you say it.
Yeah.
But like, that's a real thing. Like, you're with this other person, and you spend a lot of time together, and you pick up mannerisms and stuff. But like, you guys share energy in a weird way.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I don't really know how to do it.
And
I'm fucking that up putting it in words.
Breakups are weirder than friendships too, because friendships it's similar, but breakups are so much more intimate. I mean, yeah, that's what I meant to say. Relationships are so much more intimate, but then like when it's over, like it is cut and dry, or at least it should be. And with friendships, like there's a little more leeway, but because like when you reach that level of closeness with another person, like it's that or nothing. A lot of the time, it seems like it's really hard to come back from and like have just a regular contact with them at all, which is interesting. Because like if you get in like a tizzy with the friend, you can still kind of be chill, but with the breakup, it's like world ending sometimes. It's like life shattering.
Yeah, it changes you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And friendships can do that too.
It's just like a different way.
It's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, I mean, this might not necessarily be healthy, but at least in the past for me, like when I get into long-term relationships very rarely. I think I've had like 2 in my whole life, not counting the weirdos sprinkled in here and there, but the ones that didn't
A little
last,
extra flavoring throughout.
the ones that didn't last very long. But like, I'm just like very guarded, despite, I talk a lot and say whatever the fuck. But to be actually like emotionally vulnerable with a person to that level is so hard, and I take those losses super hard. Like, I kind of become like enmeshed with them in a way that isn't great.
What do you mean?
Like I'm trying to think. Like my first boyfriend in high school, I was like 15 when we started dating, so I was stupid. But he went into the Navy, and he was 2 years older than me, and he's like, don't go to college. Like I'll take care of you.
Oh shit, you gotta run from those. You gotta be real careful with
I was so young. I ended up fucking off. But yeah, just like that kind of shit where it's like I'm gonna plan my whole life around this person, and I kind of like lose sight of what I want to do. Like I don't think if I had stayed with that guy, I don't think I would ever have gotten this good at drawing. So it's like those kind of 2 schools of thought where if I'm alone, I will do better for myself and know myself better and be like stronger as an individual. But I'm alone. So it's like, how do you do both and not like kind of lose yourself in another person?
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
It's so easy to slip into the other person and like become codependent.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with someone that you do open up with and you feel comfortable with.
And like
it's
genuinely love. Yeah.
You can just lose yourself.
Yeah. And sometimes it's awesome. It's like cool.
It's a good feeling and it's scary. And that's why doing it with the wrong person is like, it can fuck you up.
Yep.
Because that just weighs on you.
So this phase of my life, I'm like, I think I need to be doing that.
Yeah.
I think I need to be doing that right now.
Yeah, I'm in that same camp. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot.
And also I feel like they become like a reflection of you. And even in like a public way, like when someone sees who you're dating, like they will judge them based off of you, kind of in a way. Like you're a unit.
Guilty by association.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like you're a unit. So in my experience, when I start dating someone, I become much more judgmental of them because subconsciously I'm like, people are gonna judge me based on you. I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's like a me problem. That's a personal hang up. So I think for me it's hard because I become kind of an asshole. I'm like, when I not even like in a relationship necessarily, but when I'm seeing someone or something, I'm like, are you good enough for me? People are gonna judge me for hanging out with you. Like,
I think that's good you recognize that though.
I'm so painfully self-aware. Like
that to a fault, right?
It's such a fault. It's like, oh, I can't like exist in a room without being like hyper thinking. Like it's so meta, like in my own head. I'm like, fuck.
I think that's good though. I think there's 2 camps with being honest. There's that group that, is really, they're just dicks. And they're like, I'm just being honest. It's like, no, you're just being a dick. But then there's the other camp where it's like, you are being honest. And I think you've obviously fallen into that other camp. And a good judgment I've come to pick up on is the other camp doesn't say, oh, I feel like I'm being an asshole. Like, that's how you can easily judge, is if the person's like, oh,
it's like, no, I'm definitely being an asshole. I need to stop. But I think like that kind of honesty freaks people out sometimes because I have people have really strong reactions to me. Like, I just feel like I show up pretty authentically most of the time, not to be like, I'm so real, I'm a real one. But
that's what I think scares people is authenticity nowadays.
I don't know how to be fake. Like,
that's not a bad thing.
It kind of, I don't know, it gets me in a lot of trouble.
I think it's lonelier that way.
Yeah,
but I think the friendships that you culminate are better because you're more guarded.
It just takes a lot more patience, I think.
Yes.
Because it's hard to, especially when you get into like a social media hole and all these people have all these friends. But if you were able to closely examine those friendships, you would see that there's not a lot of realness between those people. But just me as a personality trait, like I can't really be friends with people that I don't feel okay being myself around. Like I just can't do it. It's not going to happen. So obviously, as a result, I don't have I mean, I have a good amount of friends, but I don't have like, all these like party pals and blah, 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 we're besties because it's just not real.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
I don't like it.
It's icky.
Like if I can't call you at 4 a.m. and be like, I'm in trouble, like, then what's the point? I mean, I think you should be nice with everyone. That's kind of how I try to live my life. Is like, I'm cool with everybody, but think it's important to keep like a core group of like 3
which
or
is
4
kind
people.
of, it's hard for me to accept that about myself, because in college with all the, it's like so much pressure to have a friend group and like be seen having a lot of friends, blah blah blah. It really got to me, and I'm having a hard time like deconstructing that thinking and being okay accepting myself as a person who doesn't like necessarily have a ton of really close friends, because who really does anyway? Like that's
the thing, right?
like how many people are you actually close with that you hang out with,
Yeah, there's that quote where I can't think of it, but it's always the person who's surrounded by the most people that's the saddest.
Yeah, exactly.
How depressing is that?
Yeah, and I used to do a lot of like, I guess I'd call it performing, like just being kind of a watered down version of myself so people would like to hang out with me.
Just to get those friendships.
Yeah, and it was just to have friends. It wasn't because of them as individuals, which is doing myself and that person a disservice. So it's like, now I just try to be okay. It's not easy though. Like
it's a hard thing to do.
Rejection sucks.
Yeah.
And I feel like it happens a lot when you're just like being who you are and not like molding to what other people are wanting from you or what they would accept in you. I still kind of like find myself chameleoning and like being like changing my personality based on where I am, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either. I think that's it can be kind of a skill if you do it right, but it's one of those, it's kind of a tightrope to figure out how to walk it right so you're not like compromising yourself, but you're also like using it to, it's okay to like have be able to get along with a lot of different people.
Yeah, people like to say what, code switching?
Yeah. I do a lot of that.
Yeah, I don't think I think that word gets thrown around like it's a bad thing. I don't think it's bad. Because I think certain environments dictate certain movements, right? Like, I'm not going to say fuck and use certain language around my parents, but I would around my friends. Is that code switching? Yeah, but is that a bad thing?
I think it's one of those things that you have to, like, be careful with because you can, like, harm yourself. Like,
yeah, you could, and lose yourself.
It's harder when you're younger, I think, too, and there's, like, all those pressures to be a certain type of cool and, like, wear these pants that have bedazzled jewels on the ass. Like, that was the big thing.
It says juicy on your yoga pants.
The fucking
like,
rock
what?
revivals when I was in high school.
Oh, God. Oh, God. That was all the... Oh.
And I was, like, a weird artsy stoner kid. Like, I didn't do any of that shit. I was like, whatever,
like,
bro.
Fuck those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or what shoes are you wearing? All that, like, all the Gucci...
I don't give a shit about brands. What am I even wearing right now?
This is a $7 t-shirt off Amazon, man. I've never been more proud of anything.
This shirt in Florence, Italy, speaking of.
Damn.
Oh, I didn't wear my Italian hat, but I wore my Italian shirt. I'm wearing some Levi's right now, though. So, I guess it's branded.
I think I've got some Old Navy.
But this is the most hilarious, like, obviously slapped together outfit. Like, I have a Ducks hat.
But I feel like that's indicative of you. Like, you just don't...
I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Which I think life is way more worth living when that's your attitude.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck.
It's so draining trying to please other people.
It's funny because my natural personality, like, I'm pretty loud and, like, very strong personality and talk a lot, but then I'm also so anxious. Like, in the moment, I'm like, I'm living, but then later I'll be like, oh, it's so embarrassing that I said that. I'm like, damn, they probably think I'm so fucking annoying. So, like, I can say all this shit to you now and, like, live your truth, but inside...
20 minutes, you're going to text me like, Nick, I don't know. I don't know about this.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm so sorry.
I'm feeling some type of way now.
I'm like, damn, I talk so much. And you're like, it's a podcast. That's the whole
That's
thing.
the point. Yeah, you're in your environment now. That's all part of it.
I just never shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that's a rough way to live. And I think that's why I really think it's authenticity. Authenticity. I don't know why I said it like that. Authenticity that scares people.
Really nailed
yeah, I was like,
every syllable.
Authenticity. I really think that's what scares people nowadays. And I think part of it is social media, because if you don't fit that mold, people get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think you're doing something that you're passionate about, which I'm afraid that worries people too. Because people have a weird desire to shit on people that are doing things they're not, or doing things that they want to do but they don't think they could. So then they're just like, I'm gonna fucking tear you down because secretly I want to do that, but I don't think I can. So, like, have you ever... So obviously you want to be an artist, right? And do that. Have you ever told that to someone and they're like, oh, you should go get this job because it's much more...
Oh, and I think, honestly, like, as a defense mechanism, I just started saying it myself because
Which, how fucking sad is that?
Yeah.
Like,
And
oh, that's a better life to give up on what you want to do to settle.
I also kind of struggle with it too because I feel like it's just so much of how our society is structured would really corporatize and like just kind of bastardize my art. So it's not wholly taking a step back from it as a career because of that, but it's also kind of like a fear of if I make this my livelihood, will I still love it? But also at the same time, it's like I've never seen in my own life an example of that being able to happen anyway.
Of somebody succeeding at their dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm like, what even is my dream? Because like I'm international studies and romance language major. I was passionate about that too. So it's kind of like I want to do everything. I don't want to specialize. Like I would like to, do a little something on the side, do a little art on the side. Like I don't want to pick one thing and stick to it. Like in college I spoke 3 languages. I don't know how to speak Italian anymore, but my Spanish is pretty good. So like language learning is something I really love. So I think oh my god, I talk with my hands so much, like punching.
You're telling me I'm always doing
like,
I watched back the video and I'm like, gee.
Well, your mic's like off to your side. I keep fucking judo kicking this shit. But
you're just testing out the stand, making sure it's solid.
I never realized how fidgety I am until I'm in constraints. I keep like kicking the table, like punching the mic. Like, damn, girl, chill out. But I just like, I'm worried. Just for me, kind of limiting myself in any way, even though art is like the main thing I like to do. If it's the only thing I have time to do, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna hate it. I can just see myself becoming really resentful. So I would like to find a way to like have a little side hustle, which is kind of what I'm already doing. But if it would make me a little more money, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there's no harm in that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing, is how many people actually succeed at their dreams.
Yeah.
And that's the weird one, is when you tell somebody like, oh man, I want to do this someday. And they're like, oh, don't do that. Like, do this instead.
A lot of it is luck too.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Really?
People say that, yeah.
That's how I feel, at least.
I think it's luck. I think luck plays into life, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, there's some aspect where luck comes in. But I want to believe that having talent and just being undeniable will get you there.
Yeah.
Like, I want to believe that.
It'll get me somewhere, I think. But I also am just, like, fucking jaded, I think. I'm like, whatever. Like, because especially after, like, going to college, and I'm like, this is my way out. And then I graduated, I'm like, man, that generational poverty has hands. Fuck. Oh, shit. Because for me, it's upsetting because there's a lot of people who aspire to be artists and they have, like, parents to subsidize their art. And I'm like,
yeah,
I don't got that shit. I gotta figure it out. So, like, maybe someone on Instagram will discover me and adopt me. I don't fucking know. Like, so from my perspective,
some rich European family.
Yeah,
take you back to Italy.
please, I would love that. From my perspective, it's like I gotta get fucking lucky at something for this to work out for me. Otherwise, I'm gonna be slinging tacos at various different establishments.
Hopefully better ones.
My coworker just texted me actually when I was in the bathroom and said, like, I won't say his name. I probably shouldn't slander him because he'll come for me. But my boss was like, I just fired someone to her, like, right when she got off. He's like, I just fired someone and I talked to them so many times. They didn't listen to me. And I'm like, huh? When? About what? So basically the big point of contention is, I don't know if I said this earlier, but the new girl, I was like opening with her and I went to take the delivery and he told me, like, don't leave the new girl alone. And I was like, okay, cool. But then, like, a week had passed. He scheduled her for an opening shift alone. So she was opening by herself. So when she was opening with me, I thought it would be fine to take a delivery.
Which seems reasonable if she opened by herself.
It's fucking not a big deal. And so I didn't realize that him saying, don't leave the new girl alone was forever. Because he was very vague. It was one sentence. And then he is going around saying that he talked to me multiple times and I ignored him. And I'm like, you said the most vague thing ever. I simply misunderstood you. You didn't put me on probation. You didn't give me a warning. You didn't sit me down and actually have a conversation with me. I just didn't understand what you meant. Like, a very easy misunderstanding to have, and you immediately fired me. Like, that's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. And while he was firing me, his word for word was like, you're intelligent and you're a leader and a great employee and I expected better from you.
Jesus.
And I'm like, okay, dick face. Like, why didn't you just fucking sit down and have a conversation with me so I knew what the fuck you meant?
I wish you would have said that.
I wish you would have
said that.
I sent him a text and I was like, I just wanted to say thank you so much for the opportunity and I really hope that you have the best success in your business. But then right after that, I convinced my coworkers to quit, so.
Touche.
I told the 2 new girls to quit, and they were like, I'm gonna go back to doing DoorDash.
Yeah, he just sounds like a shitty boss, is the problem.
Yeah. Do you think he'll see this?
Probably not, but I wish he would.
It doesn't seem like it's in. I mean, to be fair, I was talking mad shit about him, and he has like security cameras. He listens in, like he'll sit in the back office all day, and he'll listen in on all our conversations. He'll listen in on all the phone calls. He like has all these secret expectations that he won't tell you about. He doesn't like sit and try to talk. Like if you're having a performance issue, example, because I just got fired, he won't explain it to you in detail. You can't have a conversation about it. He'll just fucking fire you and talk shit about you to your coworkers. Like my first week working there, he was talking shit about my coworker to me, like who'd been working there for over a year, like constantly talking shit about her. And
yeah,
that should have been a fucking red flag.
Yeah, you should be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm okay.
I was just like, okay, whatever, fuck you.
Yeah, that just sounds like a shitty
I'm
spot.
just so mad. Like I want to spray paint his building, but I won't because I'm a respectable citizen.
Yeah, disclaimer. So if there's spray paint on it,
if somebody does
yeah.
spray paint it, I'm gonna be in a fucking. I just hope that doesn't happen. It'd be fucking shitty because it straight up wasn't me. I swear to God, I just said it like in a moment of frustration. But what I did say, this is really funny. I kind of summoned this upon myself. What I did say is like he can probably hear me talking shit on the security cameras right now, and he's gonna fire me. But if he does, I don't care.
You said that before.
Word for word. Word for word.
Called it.
And I believe in my heart that's really why he fired me.
I would imagine.
Because like if this was like that big of a deal, he would have talked to me about it. And like he just heard me talking shit, and then he made it.
He was like, "Oh fuck, now I gotta do this."
I have PTSD, so I get panic attacks. Like it's like a literal disability. It's not my control. But he said to me, "Well, you said to someone once that you made a comment that you like taking deliveries because it helps you calm down. So if you get in an accident by chance and you happen to have said that, it's an insurance liability because you're driving while you're unsafe to drive." And I'm like, that's discrimination. I said that because it's nice because I'm alone and I have to listen to music. And it's really overstimulating to be in a business where the phone's always ringing and your boss is annoying. And
if it's calming you down, that seems like that would be a benefit for him.
And he just is so full. He's so far up his own ass. He was like, well, when you took that delivery and left the new girl alone, like, I was thinking, like, were you having a breakdown?
Oh, God.
I was like, fuck you, dude. I took that because she had to leave. She had to clock out and I could take it faster. So I tried to get it over with so she could leave on time.
Oh, she wasn't even on the clock?
She was 15 minutes late after that, and I didn't want her to be out driving while she, like, I was just trying to be nice to my coworker. Like, straight, like, genuinely, tend to lie sometimes. Just when I'm mad and, like, trying to lie my way out of trouble. I don't have a reason to do that right now. That is actually what happened. I was trying to be nice, because she's worked there for, like, a week, and I didn't want her to, like, have to stay super late. Because if she had taken it, she would have gotten off at, like, 2:45. I got her off at, like, 2:15.
Yeah.
I was just trying to be that's also such a stupid reason to fire. Even if your employee is talking shit about you, like, talk to them about it.
Yeah, that's just somebody who's not a good boss.
Yeah. And, like, obviously, if we have that many, like, if all your employees fucking hate you.
It's kind of a sign.
And, yeah, it's kind of a you problem, dude.
Yeah, kind of a sign.
But I've always had a fucking loud mouth. I never learned how to shut the fuck up. I you know, I'll be a good sport about it. I'm like, you know, I know why you really fired me, and that's fair. But the bullshit reason you gave me makes me mad.
Yeah. People don't like being honest.
But I did say that word for word, to be fair. To be perfectly honest. I said he could fucking fire me. I don't give a shit. And he heard me.
That's so funny.
He probably was, like, reviewing the tapes. He was like...
Just constantly played it back, fucking staring at the screen like,
I was like, I fucking hate this guy. Like, I'm such a dumbass. I hate him. Like, he probably heard me. So I'm not, like... You know, I'll be a good sport. He also was cool about it. He, like, set it up so I can get unemployment. So
okay.
So, like, whatever,
Dick,
man.
but at least there's
I'm
that.
like, you're kind of a slimy, shady cock, and I hate you, but whatever, we're cool, I guess. Fuck you.
Okay. In solidarity, I'm not even there anymore.
Yeah, dude, I'm literally... I'm in so much trouble. I've told everyone I know, boycott Esmeralda.
Just don't eat
The food's not that good anyway. And he like overcharges people on purpose. He would try to get us to like overcharge people. Like we have different sizes of guacamole, and he wants you to like ask people on the phone, because half the time if you ask them like, oh, do you want some guacamole, then they'll say yes. And so he would make us like opt to give them the biggest, most expensive size. And our drinks, we sell like Jarritos for like $4.95, and you can get those for 80 cents at Winco. We sell them for $5 fucking dollars.
Damn.
Yeah.
Talk about a markup.
Jesus, like for real. Is it slander if it's the truth?
I don't think so. It's a podcast.
I mean, I've already got fired, so what the fuck? Who fucking cares?
Yeah, what's he gonna do? Call you up and be like, you have to stop talking about us.
Maybe he'll cease and desist me.
That'd be cool. You could frame that.
That would be a new one.
Yeah.
But like, whatever. I don't think his restaurant competitors are gonna be watching this.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he's not gonna see it. He's not gonna see it.
Now I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, there's that loud mouth again.
You're
Fuck.
good.
We gotta keep this under wraps thing.
That's so. People suck.
No, he's a.
Sometimes
I
people
also
suck.
like saw a Craigslist ad for my job, and he's paying them more. It was like $16 an hour now. He's paying me $15. So everyone knew he's hired since me. He's been paying more. He's a slime ball, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
That
Everybody
sucks.
on this podcast,
Oh,
we
boycott.
hate Esmeralda. Boycott Esmeralda.
I would laugh so hard if he just like his business just drops.
He's like gonna email you, like everyone.
I need you to pull this episode. I'd be like, sorry, man, I don't.
Go leave a bad review.
Yeah, I don't have any control over that. It's out in the ether.
He also
now.
like one of the chefs quit because we're always super understaffed and he overworks his employees. And she quit because she's by herself all day and she was super stressed out and she's like, fuck this. And I was like, honestly, yeah. But then he went around telling everybody she was crazy. But I would have went to if I was her. I was about to, honestly, anyway. But and we had one chef who was his sister working 7 days a week, literally every fucking day because he hadn't had a new person. And then he sent out like 13,000 flyers to the surrounding citizens of Eureka for his like fucking dollar tacos or whatever the fuck. And so we got hella fucking stupidly slammed busy with one cook.
Oh, that sucks.
It's like, bro, like, what kind of business practices are you engaged? Like, this isn't good business practices.
Yeah, that's not good for the employees.
It's
Come
not
on.
cool. And he's like, well, and all the shit he said to me and like setting me up for unemployment is like, it was nice, I guess, but it's just bullshit to save face. You're just mad that I talk shit about you. But he talks shit about all of us constantly, so who cares? Like,
Yeah, some people condition they can't take it.
clearly he can't.
That's a thing.
But I did talk a lot of shit. I will own up to that. I talked a whole lot of shit.
I bet it was pretty funny though.
All the new girls were like, like, what is it like here? And like when they were around, I'd be like, oh my god. But then when they left, I'd be like, it fucking sucks. I fucking
Leave.
quit.
Just start running. Don't come
but
back.
then like I didn't have to do that much work because he made them uncomfortable before I even said anything. So
Oh. Yeah, the telling somebody, oh, you need to wear tighter clothing, that's really...
that's a fucking weird ass
that's
thing
really
to say.
uncomfortable.
And he also made the comment like one of the male staff wears like baggy clothes. You always see his ass crack. And he was like, well, so-and-so wears baggy clothes, but he's a boy, so it's different. And I'm like, do you realize all the fucking weird, like, you're discriminating against me for my disability. You're sexually harassing this girl because she's a girl and she's not allowed to wear baggy clothes. Like, what do you want from us?
That's just uncomfortable. I can't think of the restaurant. There was a restaurant in Fortuna somebody was telling me about that used to work there. And they had like a dress code for the girls. And it was like low-cut tops. It had to be a low-cut top. It had to be tight clothes. And I was like, what? Like, he
It's
explicitly
fucking
said
slimy
that?
as
And they're like,
fuck.
yeah. Like, this is, if it wasn't low enough, he'd write you up or tell you, hey, you need to change. Like,
That's
slimy shit like
as
that.
fuck. It's just gross. And like, it's not even necessarily like a feminist statement. It's more
It's
like,
just gross.
personally for me, I don't like being fucking told what to do.
When it's just like, why? I get like if you want them to wear all black or like wear.
But like your tits have to be out as a company role.
It's weird.
It's gross
weird.
and icky. And I just hate when stuff is like super gendered like that and like people are just like, what is happening?
I just got this mic stand. I wasn't gonna set it up, and then you were texting me, and you're like, "Hey, I'm just gonna be a few minutes late." And I was like, "Oh, perfect! I'm gonna set up this new mic stand." I haven't quite figured
Dude,
it out
I
yet,
was
so I'm like,
mobbing my ass down Harris. I was like super sweaty. I was like, what time is it? Where am I?
Oh,
Because I was like going up that big hill. I think I was like on the corner of like Dolbeer and Harris. Wow, I can't talk. Dolbeer and Harris when I texted you.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I was like just mobbed up that hill. like, give me a little bit, dude. I'll be there.
I was like, no worries. I'm over here just
I made it there
chilling.
in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, I'm flying.
Yeah, it was just enough time. I literally just finished setting this up before you walked in. I was going to try to read the instructions to be like, okay, how do I
also
get
was
everything
like,
working?
I guess I'll just knock. I have this irrational fear of like, even when I have every indication that I'm at the right place, like they could not possibly not be the right place. I'm always like, what if it is?
Yeah, what if I just walk into somebody's
Because
house?
one time in high school,
Oh no.
I did that. I was going to my friend's house that I had been to before, and I walked into their neighbor's house on accident. The wrong fucking house.
What?
And it was so humiliating and horrible that I am really paranoid about that now.
Did you run into them?
The guy was sitting on the couch and he was like, he jumped off the couch and he was like, wrong house. And he jumped up and ran to the door and like slammed it in my face. And I was like,
You just walk straight in.
I don't think I'm very threatening looking.
You're not.
Like at that time I was like 7. I had no tattoos. So like the only thing that maybe makes me look threatening is because I have like a bunch of tattoos now. But I was like a 17-year-old girl. What am I going to do to you? Like, cool.
Was the door open? No,
it was unlocked.
And you just opened it and walked in.
I mean,
that's my new fear now. Thanks for that.
It happened to me in real life, and I am now so stressed out about it that I'm like, fuck. So it was really an act of bravery that I just walked up and knocked, because normally I would be like, can you come get me?
I know you were like right at the door, and I was like, that's why I leave it open is so people can walk in. And you're like, hey, and I was like, oh, come in. Embarrassing story. My first day at this college I went to down in Sac, I was trying to get my lay of the land of the campus, and it was like in between classes. I think I had just finished one up and was walking to another one, and I was trying to find a bathroom. And so I asked somebody, and they're like, oh yeah, it's right around this corner, right? So I rounded the corner, and it was literally like right around the corner. And so I just walked in, and it was a girl's bathroom. And I see a girl standing at the sink. Like I walked right in, just breached the doorway, saw her at the sink. She starts to turn to look at the door. I turned around, spun out, and left the building. I was like, nope.
You did it, though.
That's not happening. I know. So
You
I was
escaped.
like, who does that? Like,
I have definitely walked into the men's room when I was a kid, but I looked like a boy until I was like 13. So
what I feel like if a girl goes into the boys' room, like
it's different. It's just like, oh, sorry, miss.
If a guy walks in, it's
dick's
like,
out.
oh, you what are you doing, you pervert? And I was like, I just transferred here.
You're about to get your ass beat.
Yeah.
If I walk into the men's bathroom, people are gonna be like,
what's going on?
Yeah, what the fuck?
They probably wouldn't even care. They just look over and be like,
but
okay.
you're gonna include some violence.
Yeah.
Against your
I spun out of there so quick. My face was probably bright red. I was like, I guess, nope. Not going to the bathroom now. We're just going to class.
That's super funny.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Scarring moments. Scarring moments for sure.
Yeah, I'm just like I'm an intelligent person. I'm pretty personable. Like I know how to act in public, but sometimes, man, like when I'm getting on this bike, I am making a mockery of myself because I can't get the peg to go up and then the pedals, and I'm like wobbling on it. Like I just look like a fool. I get really like easily like socially hyper conscious of myself and just look like I'm just a fucking goober. Dude.
I get that way in banks. That's the worst for me. Yeah, when I walk into a bank and like I'm waiting in line, for some reason I feel like a criminal. Like I think, oh, they're gonna think I'm gonna rob the place or something. I get like really uncomfortable in banks. Yeah, I don't know why. And you walk in and all the tellers look at you when you walk in, and I'm like, what did I?
You don't look. I wouldn't peg you as a bank robber type.
Well, apparently I am. Every time I walk in, I get really. I'm like, can we speed that? I do it all online now because I'm like, I don't want to fucking
just
go.
a dude.
Yeah, just not trying to go to the bank. And it's only at the bank. I don't know. Maybe secretly I want to rob a bank, and so I'm just
that is hilarious.
Projecting
like
that.
I've heard of like weird, like intrusive thoughts, but I've never heard of like being nervous at
a
the bank.
bank.
It's like
specifically
at Co Central Credit Union.
Yep. That's what I was thinking of when I said that. Specifically, the one over on Harris makes me very uncomfortable.
The one by Winco?
No, the one.
Is there one by Winco still?
There's one by Stars.
Yep.
That one's the one that I would go to.
I lived here. I haven't lived here since I was 12, but it hasn't changed that much.
No.
So it's like it's super trippy actually, especially on a bike because I used to ride that bike everywhere. I lived on like by St. Joe's, like on Russ Street. When I went to Cutton, and I had to like ride my bike over there the other day, and I was like, "This is so fucking weird, dude." Because it's
blast from the past,
literally, and I'll just get like these deep memories coming back all the time, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" It's kind of cool. Like, I never thought I would like want to live in Eureka on purpose, but honestly, it's like
you like it.
It's hilarious. It's like super fun, and like I get to like remember all these funny memories of myself. Like me and one of my friends in high school, and literally elementary school, we went to like a boffer tournament one time, like the 5th grade, which is like where people like LARP at Sequoia Park.
Oh God, I remember that. Oh, and they get decked out and have like foam swords and shields.
It was me and Isabella Montavani. Do you remember them?
Yeah. Oh my God.
We went to Dollar Tree and got these like baseball bats and wrapped them in like pool noodles and tape, and we went and tried to like join these grown men in their like LARPing battle. And
Did they let you in?
Yes, and they killed us mercilessly. I remember this one guy whacked me. He's like probably like a 19-year-old dude, or like older. I don't know. He had a full beard, I think.
And you guys are in 6th grade.
I was like 11. I was like 11 years old. I was an 11-year-old girl, and he was like, "I hit you. You're dead." I was like, "Bro, come on."
Give me a fair shot.
It's not a fucking joke to them. We both got.
Oh no, they're dead serious about it.
They don't care if you're like literally in 5th grade.
You can be a toddler and they're gonna whop you on the head.
And he was like, "You're dead. You need to lay down." And I was like, "Damn, this." I was so hyped for this, and this sucked.
Just laying down the whole time. I keep dying.
Yeah, that is a really funny memory. I used to my aunt had a motorcycle back in the day. I used to live with her, and she had this bright yellow like Bumblebee from Transformers motorcycle helmet, and I would wear that, and I would have like basketball shorts and a t-shirt on, and I would just bomb down the Boone Street Hill.
Oh, that's intense.
In like 4th grade.
On your bike or on your longboard?
On my bike. Oh,
okay.
Longboard, hell no. Definitely on a bike, but still, even on a bike,
yeah.
I don't think I would do that now.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't have done that then either.
Yeah.
Like,
I was a ballsy ass kid. I was a little rascal. In 5th grade, I like punched my classmate in the sternum.
Just for fun?
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I didn't really.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about what you said.
I just wanted to see what would happen.
I like to tell the story backwards. I always start with like, I punched her in the sternum, but she pulled my hair.
Okay, fair.
But she pulled my hair because I stole her water bottle for no reason.
Okay.
So
I like the little build up there.
It's like you're an asshole, but you're retaliating, but no, you're just
and then he goes back. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. I just talked to her recently. Actually, I was like, "Sorry, I punched you in the heart." She's like, "It's cool. We should get coffee sometime." It's
Bonded
actually
over that moment.
Really interesting coming back here, like how like quickly I was like accepted by all my old Cutton people. They're just like, hey.
I feel like Cutton, we were a close knit group. Like even though like all of us weren't super close, like we all knew each other.
We weren't even in the same class.
Yeah.
I don't know how that ended up happening. 6th grade is actually the year I went to the state spelling bee. So I was like a little local celeb.
Really?
Yeah, I went to the California State Spelling Bee that year.
Damn.
I have a signed certificate by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No shit.
Because it was when he was the governor.
Oh my God, that's so funny. That's like the perfect timing.
Yeah, it was awesome. It's like, thank you for your participation. Signed, the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, I can't believe I have this. It was also race car themed.
Oh.
I don't know why. Like
the spelling bee.
It didn't strike me as weird until I was an adult, like looking at old pictures.
What
and
was
I'm like,
that?
There was like a big cardboard cutout of Danica Patrick. I'm like, and this like the podium was like a little race car bed.
That is so weird.
That, like,
why race cars?
I don't know. It like wrapped around the mic, and then all of our little like name tags were like the black and white checkered flag.
Oh my God.
I don't know why. The word I got out on was erudite. Can you spell that?
Nope. Not even gonna try.
I will never forget. I think how I spelled it at the time was ARIODYTE, but it's actually ERUDITE.
Oh.
Erudite. It's a scholar.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that meant. I was thinking, what is that, like the Divergent series? Aren't there like erudites or something?
Maybe.
That's what my mind went to. I was like, where have I heard that?
It's been a minute since I read any of
Yeah.
those, but that's like a scholar that
Okay.
studies things. I will remember that till I fucking die, because that was a moment of great shame in my adolescence.
How far did you make it?
I think I was like 16th out of like 60 people.
That's pretty damn good.
So I made it like 4 rounds. But erudite took me down.
Knocked you out.
I was like, shit. I remember my winning word at Cutton, like the school spelling bee, was broccoli.
No shit.
BROCCOLI.
Crowning moment.
And then I had to, after the spelling bee, the whole saga, I remember being in class, and I went up to Mr. Nelson, and I was like really discreet. I was like, how do you spell business? He roasted me in front of the whole class.
After you
He
won
was
the
like,
Cutton
you're
spelling bee.
asking me how to spell something?
You see what I'm struggling with right now?
Do you have like tape or
This
something?
is my life. I think it's a tension thing. Actually, I think it's this one.
Yeah, but my teacher roasted me in front of the whole class.
I mean, how could you not, though? That would have been like a wasted opportunity.
He like stood up in front of the whole class and was like, "Did you hear her? She just asked me how to spell business."
This is our spelling bee champ.
I was like, "I don't know, it's a confusing word." I'm like, B-U-I-S. No, that's not right. B-U-S-I. And I do remember though, I kind of deserved it because we always used to make fun of him for being bald. I don't know if you remember this. I feel like this was like the entire 6th grade did this, but on his 50th birthday, we all came to school wearing all black because he was over the hill. I feel like Mitchell helped organize that.
Probably.
That's so funny. He turned 50 and the whole 6th grade
That's so messed up.
came to school wearing all black. I think he
just shows up. He's like,
It's like, what the hell?
Okay, guys, thanks.
He's
Thanks
a good
for that
sport.
one.
I would have died laughing. That's hilarious. I think he still works there. I kind of want to.
Does he really?
I kind of want to go say what's up to him sometime, but it's probably a pandemic violation. Be like, hey Nelson, remember me?
How do you spell business?
I wonder if he remembers that. I'll have to ask him. I want to like call them and be like, can I come say hi to Mr. Nelson? Okay, something crazy though. I was working at the Duck store, like the U of O campus paraphernalia store, and this lady comes up to me and she's super familiar, and I was like, this is such a weird question. Do you work at Cutton Elementary School in Eureka, California? And she was like, yeah. It was fucking Mrs. Mitchell.
No shit.
She came to the Duck store and I was like, I know you. And she's like, I remember you, just spelling bee girl. She's like, I have to go tell Mr. Nelson. This is so cool.
Oh, how funny is that?
I was in college at the time. Yeah, that was hilarious. That was crazy.
Wow. Probably just out there to catch a Ducks game.
Yeah, she's a big Ducks fan.
Oh, shit.
Let's go Ducks.
How funny is that?
Yeah, it was wild.
I wonder how many of them still work there from when we were kids.
Yeah, I think as of 2 years ago.
I think she still works there.
But that's a long time to work somewhere.
I know.
Like, as a member of our generation, I cannot fathom that.
That freaks me out,
working somewhere for that long. Or, like, I think Nelsie's still over there. I love that guy.
The idea of working a desk job freaks me out.
Being a teacher, I can understand a little better.
Yeah.
But I just am not a...
I mean, you get summers off, which kind of helps.
But you get paid, like, dick.
Dirt, yeah. Which doesn't help.
Just, at this point in my life, I don't know. I'm, like, feel so commitment phobic to anything that I'm, like, I cannot sign on for a career right now.
Yeah.
Because what if I don't like it? I just am so flighty. Like, I've literally moved every fucking, like, 2 to 4 months for the last, like, year and a half.
You think you're going to stay here for a bit?
Yeah. I think now is when I'm like, I think all the moving is not helping. We're going to post up in Stinkyville for a little time.
See what happens.
Although, the bike rides have been very wholesome.
Therapeutic.
Actually. Yeah. Especially when it's somewhere, specifically, close to where I used to live as a kid. I'm like, this is rad. I feel alive. I think the first time I went on the bike ride, I was so shocked by how much fun it was. I think I teared up. I was like,
really?
This is awesome. I love this. It was kind of emotional, too, because moving away was pretty traumatic for me. I grew up here, my friends, I didn't really have time to say bye to anybody. I just kind of disappeared.
And at that age.
Mm-hmm. So now it's I'm an adult, but I can come back and kind of remember what it was like to be a kid and recapture that feeling. In a different way, obviously, but it's kind of it's corny, but it's kind of magical. I'm like, yeah, it's riding my bike down Harris. It's a great time.
That's cool though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, riding your bike like that. That's what kids do.
Riding
it ties
a bike
right into it.
It's a staple of elementary school.
Yeah.
And so being able to do it now, as an adult, kind of, it helps take me out of the funk of post grad, and it's I'm just a creature riding a bike,
yeah, on a rock flying through space.
Yes, exactly. So all the shit that seems so big and important actually doesn't matter because it's just me and my bike.
Do you remember Camellia Seghetti?
Yes.
Her and there was this other girl who loved horses. And that's all I remember about her was she just loved, she would not stop talking about horses, loved them. And I think she was only at Cutton for a year or something, but for whatever reason she hung out with us. And the three of us would go ride bikes.
Really?
Yeah. Which is weird because me and Camellia didn't really hang out in school.
That's an interesting group of
people. She lived 4 houses away from me growing up. And so we would just go, I don't know how the horse girl came into the picture. I don't know where she just showed up one day and we all started riding bikes together. But we would just go ride bikes around like that's what kids do. I don't know if kids today are still doing that though. I don't know if
think
bikes
so.
are.
I feel like it's harder to just like randomly pick up people and go do activities with them.
They don't just pop up anymore. It's like, I found you on social media.
I wish that still happened. I miss that kind of vibe where it like didn't matter. It wasn't like, do you fit my aesthetic? It was like, you got a bike, I got a bike, let's fucking go.
Let's go.
I do remember though, I was like a weird like grungy kid, and I had this like this gross jacket I would wear every day, and I think it was like, what's his name, like Dylan Weimer or something.
Yeah.
We had to like switch seats to do like this partner activity, and he was sitting in my seat and my jacket was there. I remember vividly him like going like this. Ew. Like throwing it on the ground.
Dick.
Like, fuck you, bro. I can kick your ass. Little football.
You could have.
Little football fucker. So it's really funny because all these people are like, I moved away so long ago, they're like figments of my mind, including you. They're like imaginary. So then I come back and we're all like grown
they
up.
exist. Like what?
Especially now that I didn't like get the middle phase of like when we all were like going through puberty and shit. It's like you were in 6th grade and now you're an adult. What's up? It's fucking weird. Because I remember all these people really well. I'll like, I don't know if they recognize me, but I'll like see them around. Or when I was at Esmeralda's, I would see them like people here and there. Like, and I'm like, I went to elementary school with you, and they're like, okay, bitch.
Jesus, yeah, it's weird, right? Growing up, I still feel like a little kid. I do not. You said adult. I'm like, that's not me. Like,
I don't feel that way either.
Yeah.
I also still look like I'm 18, so it kind of like plays into.
Yeah, you do look young. You can pass. You can pass for sure.
Yeah, which is kind of irritating sometimes, but it's whatever. It's like I just get carded a little more.
I was gonna say you probably get ID'd a lot.
I'm like, you have to ID me. I look 16. That's what I always say to the waitresses. But when I was back in Beaverton, I was taking a kickboxing class, and
oh, that's cool.
I know, I miss it. It was super fun. But it's like I don't have a car, so I can't go to kickboxing. Right now.
Do we have any kickboxing? I know
we
there
have
might be
a couple of martial arts schools. There's like the School of Combat in Arcata. There's like I think there's like a Muay Thai one on Fortuna. There's a few. There's a couple things, but I'm poor and I don't have a car, so I'm putting that off for
I think
time.
those memberships are kind of pricey.
Yeah, it was like a good like 200 when I was doing it, maybe like 190
a month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Jesus,
because I was doing MMA and kickboxing, but it's so fucking fun.
That's badass.
It was so fun.
That's badass.
So technically I'm a yellow belt in MMA.
Okay, were you doing gi or no gi?
With a gi.
Oh damn.
I still have my gi because I paid money for this. I'm gonna keep it. I should wear that for Halloween.
That would be badass.
That'd be super.
That
funny.
would be badass.
That just struck me. Because I still have so I left. I had to move like very suddenly. It was a very impulsive decision. I had like a week's notice and I was like, fuck it.
Down here?
Mm-hmm. And I was going to get my yellow belt like the next day. So I count myself as a yellow belt, even though I technically didn't get it. But the only difference between me being a yellow belt and me not being a yellow belt is paying $50 because I did the amount of classes I needed to do. So I'm going to like fucking wear my gi and my white belt. So this is a Halloween party.
Is it like were you doing like a set training schedule where like you had to take a certain amount of classes to get there?
Well, because I was a beginner and they didn't have adult classes because of the pandemic, they had all ages classes, so I was taking it with like literal 8-year-old kids, which was hilarious because they would come up to me and be like, how old are you? I'd be like, fucking old. I think the oldest besides me was like maybe 14.
Oh wow.
But some of them were like actually like 6.
Oh shit.
So I was like just a full grown.
You're in there just fucking tearing it up.
Full grown bitch up in there. I'm like, kill me. Like, let's fucking go, Timmy.
Give me all you got.
There was like this one little boy. He got in trouble because he was talking too much, and the coach was like, I'll put you in the big kid line. He was like, because he was playing too much with his little like 8-year-old buddy, and he had to stand next to me, and I saw him out of the corner of my eye like slowly scoot away. They all thought I was fucking weird.
Oh, God.
But I did have a couple times where kids would be like, you're older than my sister. My mom's 27. I'm like,
whoa. Were you doing BJJ?
No, it was MMA, so it's like kicking, punching kind of thing. BJJ is more like on the ground.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Oh, so you guys were doing some more stand up.
Yeah. MMA it's mixed martial arts, so it's a little bit of everything. BJJ is more like specialized.
Yeah.
It's a little more like takedowns, tackling shit.
I did BJJ and Muay Thai.
Muay Thai's
a
so
little bit.
fucking
it's
cool.
Shit. I did that like for 8 months in high school. Maybe not even that long. Maybe like 6
I wish
months.
I did it longer, but one of these
It's
days,
so much fun.
when I get back, it's also like it's such a good workout. It's such good cardio. It's so good for like just your self-discipline. And it's just like, you feel like a fucking badass too.
And you feel good after, like you feel drained, but in a good
Oh
way.
yeah, it was awesome. I
Yeah.
loved it. It was so cool.
After the first day I went, the warm up, I threw up after the warm up.
Bro.
And I was like, oh, this shit's gonna
no
be intense.
joke.
I was like, this is not, because I threw up on her. It was like this personal trainer lady, and she was doing it out of her garage, and I threw like, we did it, and I threw up, and I'm sitting there, and she goes into the house and grabs a towel. I was like, toss it to me, so I cleaned it up, and she's like, okay, that's the warm up. Let's keep going. And I was like, oh, what did I do?
Wasn't quite that
what
hardcore.
did I do?
That's a little next level.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna die here. Yeah, that's what's
I
gonna
was on the
happen.
rowing team in college. It was just a club team, so don't get too excited.
Okay.
But I was on the rowing
Cool.
team in college because for some reason OSU has like an actual like, like district school funded team. We just had a club team. I don't know why. U of O didn't choose to fund it, but it was like walk on. You could just go show up and try it out, and you could do whatever.
That's a great workout.
Oh my god. But the problem with that is like they wanted to perform like a D1 team, but they didn't really have the medical team or the coaching or the equipment to do so. It could have been really cool if they just embraced that they were a club team and like been that, but they would like just try to push you way too hard. Like this one girl, she thought she was hot shit because both her parents are Olympians and she's from New York and like whatever, we get it. But she went so hard. This was just during training. Like, this wasn't a race. She went so hard on like one of the fitness tests that she tore her hip flexor in half.
Whoa.
So it's like, I like working out, but not that much. I'm not that.
Yeah, you're like, this is not my show.
I'm not that kind of bitch, but I got fucking jacked though.
It's such a good workout.
Yeah.
Like even just the rowing machine is ridiculous.
It's like such insane cardio, but it is like really mind numbing. It's all you do is use the rowing machine until like through the whole winter, because the season's in the spring. You just row on the rowing machine for like 2 hours a day. Every morning.
Are they having you guys do any lifting or anything?
We
Or
did
it's
a little bit
primarily-
later on, but it was primarily like just the erg. I have like back problems to this day from that. And
Oh,
I
shit.
didn't even race. Like I quit before race season because I was like, this is fucking killing me. I had to do like physical therapy, and then my physical therapist hit on me. I wasn't sure if he was hitting on me, but one thing I've learned as I got older, if you're a girl and you think someone's hitting on you, you're almost
Pretty good chance.
98% of the time you're correct. But he had to stretch out my hamstrings because it was causing strain in my lower back. He just would say weird shit to me. Like I was doing these assigned stretches, and he was like standing there watching, and he's like, "You have strong trunks like a ballerina." I was like,
So you just attract crazy a little bit. Is the feeling I'm getting.
I was just having this conversation with someone. Is even if people are like normal in most contexts, they will go crazy on me.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking weird shit. I'm like, I don't know what it is.
Whatever vibe you're putting out.
Me and my siblings have kind of the same thing happen to us though, so it makes me feel a little better. It's just like this series of unfortunate events. Like
Oh
my
my
brother,
God.
his roommates are kicking him out. I just got fired. Like
Just a shit show.
It's always been. But we keep kicking, I guess.
That's the important part. You gotta just keep.
Yeah, but this PT, like, he was wearing a wedding ring the first time, so I was like, this is just I'm just being facetious. Like, I'm being
Oh, and then he
conceited,
wasn't the next time.
And then he wasn't. And then he said that weird, like, oh, you're so flexible.
You got some strong trunks.
What does that even
Says
mean?
that.
Like, your trunk is this.
Yeah.
Because that was when I was on the rowing team, so my quads are like meaty as
Jacked.
fuck, and I was like, I'm pretty flexible, whatever. But he's like, strong trunks like a ballerina. Those two things don't go together.
Ballerinas are actually pretty jacked.
Yeah, but it's
In
like,
a weird way.
I wouldn't consider.
But I wouldn't say you have strong
the
trunks.
phrase "strong trunks" to align with a ballerina. Also, what a
What
weird
does that
thing to say to your
mean?
patient.
Yeah, especially when she's stretching. That's
Yeah, I was like mid stretch, like ass in the air.
you got a strong trunk.
And I was like, "Thank you, doctor. Please fuck off." He was probably like 28. He's pretty young, but he's a goober. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe if you were hot.
I didn't use the word trunk.
Just kidding. No, I would not fuck my physical therapist.
I'm surprised. I wonder if deadlifts I would figure they'd have you guys do like back exercises, but I wonder if that just works.
I think that we did a little bit of it. We would do like little circuits, but I think we should have done way more because I think
or something to build up the strength before you just go at it.
Exactly. The reason I think I got a back injury is because my back muscles are not nearly strong enough to compete with my leg muscles.
Yeah.
And it would like tear up your hands, and people took like great pride in like working out till you hurt yourself. And I was like, that's cool and all, but I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, that's a big thing, right? I'm all about pushing yourself to the edge, but you got to know when to recover.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take that because you can just thrash your body and not make
exactly.
any progress.
And I think my problem is I will like pick up a new hobby and I'll go way too hard at it.
Get super obsessed.
And then I'll burn out and everyone. I did that with skateboarding. Like at the beginning of the pandemic, I would skateboard like 2 hours a day. I learned how to front shove, pop shove, ollie, backside 180, frontside 180, just did all the shit, and now I'm like, wow, I did the most, dude. I'm fucking tired. I think I was doing a frontside 180, and I fell off the board and landed so hard on my knee. This was a long time ago. It's been like several months to a year now. I don't have like full sensation back in my knee. Like I gave myself nerve damage. And it's also the most frustrating and difficult sport ever. And if you fall, you're gonna break your skeletons.
And you take a lot of falls.
Yes,
that's the thing,
you
is
fall
it's
a
like
lot,
mostly falling.
and you hurt yourself every single time, and it takes so long to be even slightly okay at it. So
Jesus.
I still like to do it sometimes, but
yeah, I'm cool with longboarding, mainly because there's not as much falling.
yeah,
so...
I do fuck with the longboard.
Yeah,
it's just way more stable, and like that feeling of like just cruising around is like so.
That's
nice.
my vibe. Like
Yeah.
we can just cruise. Like I don't need to be doing tricks. Like we're just going.
It is pretty cool when you can do a trick.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I couldn't do anything crazy, like, but I could do a pretty clean pop.
I can't even ollie.
My ollies got pretty decent at a certain point, at least like considering the rest of what I could do. Like they were pretty cool. I did a shove it in heels one time. I felt like a fucking the baddest bitch on the block. It was like in my apartment at a house party. I did a fucking shove it.
Party tricks.
Fuck
hey
yeah.
guys, watch what I can do.
I did an ollie and a shove it in combat boots like a week ago.
Wow.
I still got it.
Okay. just to see if it was still there.
Yeah, not a pretty one, but it was effective. It technically checked the boxes.
Damn. Yeah, I can't do anything on a skateboard.
I kind of can.
I think the last time I rode a skateboard was probably in 6th grade.
It's a really easy sport to leave behind. I think, it was, for me, it was like 2 weeks ago.
Do you still longboard a lot?
Not really now, just because
Biking.
The roads in Eureka are so ass. I still have my board. I used to ride like 4 miles a day.
Oh wow.
When the pandemic first started, I was jacked. I am not this bitch anymore. But I would like wake up in the morning, go on a run. I would then skateboard for 2 hours. I would then longboard 4 miles. I would go on a hike. I would do like a little home workout video. And then
damn.
But I kind of had to because I was so anxious. If I didn't do that, I couldn't sleep for 2 days. But it was cool. I was like, dang, looking good. But I could not sustain that level of activity. I also was like, had nothing to fucking do.
Yeah.
And my friends were there, so a lot of time they would do it with me. And Eugene is like, it was in the spring, and Eugene is beautiful, and it's super accessible. It's really easy to get everywhere. But now it's like, if I have to go to the gym, I have to like walk down forever. Like it takes so long.
Yeah.
And it's cold, and I don't feel like
it's
it.
Cold. That's the problem.
It's a lot easier now to be like, nah.
I'll just stay in bed. Because when it's warm.
Exactly. When I was in college, everything was just right there. So
yeah.
It was way easier to like be swole and
like, just shredded.
Shredded. I was like, damn. I was looking at pictures and I was like, wow, I'm butthurt. What have I become? Nicotine addiction. Unemployed.
Vaping. Just vaping off this freaking.
This stupid little. I feel like a 7th grader, dude.
It is a cool color. Like, it's cool. It looks weird. Like, it's the shape of it.
It's a little suggestive.
Yeah, it's a little off, but it's cool blue. I'll give it that, yeah.
It'll probably be dead in 3 days, because...
Do you have to charge those?
No, you have to buy a new one. They're disposable.
Oh.
It's terrible.
Damn.
I could buy, like, a refillable one and refill it like a normal person and save a lot of money, but...
Not there yet.
These taste better. It's so bad. I literally feel like since I graduated college, I've just slowly reverted into being like in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I just sit in my room alone and draw and skateboard and ride my bike and vape.
And vape.
Not that I was vaping in 7th grade, but It just feels like a middle school thing to
It
do.
does. It feels like that's who's vaping now.
I've just been playing a lot of like Final Fantasy and
Okay.
and drawing and hanging out alone.
I've been playing COD. I haven't been playing so much recently, but COD's kind of my go-to.
Which one?
Warzone is what I've been doing.
I asked that like I would know the difference.
Yeah. Oh.
I
You did. You had me. I was gonna say. Oh, what do you
I
play?
used to play-
That came right off the cuff. You were ready. Oh, which one?
I stopped knowing the difference after like Black Ops 2.
Okay, so wow.
I used to play them, but I just don't follow it anymore.
Yeah.
I used to play the shit out of Modern Warfare 2.
I think that's the best one.
That's the most fun.
Yeah,
I would
I
come
think that was the
home
best.
from Mr. O'Leary's class and just like slap on that headset and jump on Modern Warfare 2 online.
God, those were
Team
the days.
deathmatch, baby.
Yeah.
So I wasn't completely clueless when I asked you
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah, you had me.
No, I was like a big like RuneScape kid.
I never played RuneScape. Somebody else was just telling
I
me.
played the Christ out of RuneScape when I was little.
Is that like a
It's like an
turn-based?
MMO.
Oh, okay.
It's like an RPG online. You just fucking do shit, fight shit, wear armor.
I fucked around with Skyrim for a while.
I
put some time into
I
that
love
game.
Skyrim. I got that game like right when it came out in like 2000. What was it, like 2011? That game looks like
God,
dog
yeah,
shit now.
probably.
I remember.
I know, it's so
when
bad.
I first,
It's so bad.
I remember when I first played it. I was like, "This is beautiful." Like there's like tears in my eyes, and now I'm like,
The
"Damn."
graphics are so
I'm
amazing.
like, this shit is fucking busted.
It's
Look at these.
like playing Minecraft now.
All
You're
these
like,
players
what?
look like they were freshly popped out of a toaster. Like they look like shit, bro.
all underbaked. What are we doing?
on the bagel setting.
Yeah, that's. I think they remastered it, but I don't think it. I
They
don't
have
think it came
released
out
that
any
game
better.
like 6 times.
Yeah,
I'm like, Todd Howard, just
make a new one.
make the 6th one already. I know it'll disappoint me, but like, let's move on to other things. Come on.
Yeah,
Cause like, I mean, I feel like games that come out now are just they don't hit the same. At least Bethesda specifically, like,
yeah. No, I don't think so.
cause like Fallout 4 was kind of like it was playable. I played it, but it doesn't compare to the.
I never got into the Fallouts.
You should play New Vegas.
It's pretty good.
It's probably one of the best RPGs ever. If you can get past like how clunky and goofy it is, because it is a kind of an older game. It's really cool.
I gotta check that out.
Your choices actually matter.
Okay.
I made a choice and I lived to regret it. And I was like, wait, this has never happened in an RPG before. Normally,
Wait, these actually matter?
normally I do something and it doesn't affect my gameplay. Really, it just is like the illusion of a choice. But now I'm fucking pissed. I don't want to play anymore.
Did you ever play Cyberpunk?
I heard terrible things.
Yes. I actually really liked the storyline.
I've heard that it's a little bit more playable now, but when they released
It's still so buggy.
That's the thing with like modern games is they come out and it's like they're rushing so hard to make money off it that they don't fucking finish it.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Ghost of Tsushima?
No.
It's like a samurai game.
Yeah.
That one, the gameplay's a little iffy sometimes.
I heard the
but
graphics were really good.
that game is beautiful, and I wept like an infant baby at the ending. You should play that one. That's a really,
I'll have to try that.
That's
I've
a
heard good
banger.
things.
It's like an art piece. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
Sometimes-
I've heard that just visually it's pretty incredible.
Oh, it's awesome. I think like sometimes the gameplay's a little goofy, but as an artist, I could look past it.
Worth it. Okay, I'll check that out.
It's one of the new games that's come out that I haven't totally been like, fuck this shit, I hate this.
Mhm.
It's a pretty good one.
I gotta check that out then.
Hmm
Yeah. Cyberpunk was good, just buggy as hell.
I never really was drawn to it in the first place. Who even released that?
I want to say an indie developer, but I don't think it was. I think it
It's
was
a
I think it was
AAA.
a
There's
big
no
studio,
way.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Because what
Maybe
is
it's
it like? Future Space Grand Theft Auto? I don't really even
It's-
understand what it was, to be honest.
Oh, who released Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Ghost.
Oh no.
CD Projekt Red.
What
I
else did
think
they make? That's familiar.
They did That's a great question.
I've heard that
I was
before
trying
for
to say- I
sure.
was like-
Oh,
I know they've made
Red Dead was another really
I
good
think
game.
they made The Witcher.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Is it The Witcher?
I played Witcher 3. That game's really hyped up, and
I haven't played them.
Sorry.
Red Dead was good.
Red Dead.
Red Dead.
Red Dead
yeah.
slaps all over town.
Red Dead's
dude.
legit. That was a really good game.
I did
Both
get-
were really good.
I did get really annoyed at it just because I think I'm very like hypercritical of video games. I don't know why, but it's like such a like crazy awesome interactive open world, but then the storyline is so linear. Like you have to do exactly what it's not like sandboxy at all. There's no like alternative option you could take. You have to do it exactly this way or you fail. That's the only part where I got annoyed, but just like the world building and like just all the shit you can do, and it's like so stupid beautiful. I love that game. I finished that actually right when quarantine hit.
Oh, really?
I was playing Red Dead at that time period.
Solid game.
Skateboarding during the day, Red Dead at night.
Great combo.
Yes.
I took a game development class.
What? That's cool.
And yeah, I thought it was gonna be. Yeah,
Oof.
I thought it was gonna be.
No.
We had to. Our final assignment was to build a PC game, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" I wanted to do like, like a zombie RPG type game. I was like, "Oh, this would be cool." Some shooter. We settled on. We called it Gluck. And what it was a duck with a Glock for a head.
Ooh,
That's how it started,
that
right?
is really
So we had it photoshopped for that Gluck. Watch out for our release. It's gonna be legit.
Dude, send me a link.
Gluck. I think I have to see if I still have that file, but it was just a.
I'll play the shit out of it.
It was so ridiculous. And you're fighting swans. We had swans that were like the enemies. Swans and maybe pigeons or something. So other birds.
pigeon.
Yeah, other birds.
Fowl.
I think a goose was like the final boss.
A single geese.
Just a giant one. Like it took up half the screen. And you're just shooting these other things. It's not a scroll. It's just one solid platform, and you're on it, and you're just shooting. It's a top down Gluck. And all the other birds have different weapons, like AKs for heads and all this other
That
things.
sounds like a mini clip game, or like an Adult Swim game or something.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, what? While we were building it, I was like, what do we do? I mean, we got an A, which I could not believe because these other kids had like really cool platform games with like intricate details and cool cutscenes, and we had this.
It sounds like your teacher had a sense of humor.
Or she felt bad and was like, these kids.
I would have slapped the fattest A on that shit. I would have been like, this is hilarious. Fuck yeah.
I would have been like, guys, what are we doing here?
Points for creativity.
What are we doing here? Oh, it was definitely creative. Yeah.
What'd you get your degree in?
I did computer science and cognitive science.
Oh, nice. That's a combo.
Don't think I'm ever gonna use it.
I don't either.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
My whole like undergrad tenure was basically just like studying how the United States has plundered Latin America.
Oh, that's solid.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Or like I learned a lot about genocide, which is like
A little depressing.
sounds kind of fucked up, but I'm like, it's so cool. But like
That's interesting, right?
you can't say the word cool because it's genocide. But I thought it was just so fascinating. I got like 100% on that final, which I don't know what that says about me as a person.
It's say what you will, but that kind of thing it's fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I was really into. This is gonna sound bad. Should watch how I phrase this. I was really into Hitler. Said it the same way, anyways.
I'm gonna clip that.
Yeah,
soundbite.
that's gonna blow up. Not in like a oh my god, like go Nazis way, but like the idea that someone could rally all these people to do something so horrible, like just I was fascinated with that.
It's from especially because you studied cognitive science, just from a psychological perspective.
Yeah.
It's really like because we have like this brand of what normal is and what normal people do, and when someone like goes crazy, it's so like beyond the pale. Like that would never happen to me.
Yeah.
But then you see it happen to a whole society of people, and it's like maybe
how does that happen?
Maybe it fucking would happen to me. Like you kind of don't. People fail to realize how fragile their psyches are.
Yes.
Especially like, and I think even very moral, good people that like really are independent thinking, you don't know how you're going to behave in a certain context because you haven't been in it, and we're like very hive-minded creatures, and so shit can go down and you're going to behave in ways that surprise yourself.
Yeah, and people like to think that something like that could never happen over here, which is crazy.
I'm
'Cause we're people. There's just people over there.
And society is always like a fluid thing. It's fluctuating constantly. So like there's not this like standard American normal that we're just gonna keep just because it is what it is. It's our God-given country, like
it's that weird veneer of society,
which is made up anyway. Everything's fucking bullshit, dude.
I was on the way over here. I was driving, and 2 deer ran across the road and everybody like stopped and was like, "Oh my god, deer!" And I'm like, "What are we like? How crazy is that? That now just seeing deer, it's like."
It reminds me of like I took a philosophy class in college, and it was like we'd read about Confucius for a while, and he called it like the magic of like the understanding between people. Like for example, if you're walking down the sidewalk and someone steps out of your way, you don't have to say anything. Or like we all stop for a deer. It's like this unspoken communication, and now I can say Confucius say and like actually kind of know what I'm talking about.
But I mean, how weird! Like
Humans are fucking weird.
Weird. Like we like to think that society is this thing, but it's not. Like we put up this like set for a movie that we all live
Literally.
in, but like deer, like
They don't fucking care.
yeah, they don't care. Like they're just animals, and that's what we are. We're just animals that think we're
My
better
brain
than
got
animals.
too big. I would really like to return it.
Yeah, can we go back? Can we go back to whatever crawled out of the water? And
I would
just
like to
chill?
be like a mindless monkey, or like one of those, the diagrams they show of evolution where that lizard thing grows
Yep.
feet and crawls out of the water. That's me.
It's so weird.
Take my prefrontal cortex back, please. I don't want it anymore.
It's such a weird. We've just convinced ourselves that we're in this little safe, sanitized bubble.
I think you kind of have to. Shit's wild. It's a
I
wild
think
west.
it would be too. I don't think people could live without it nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, certainly not. If my
It'd freak them out too much.
my asthmatic ass and I go to try to survive in the post-apocalypse, if I don't have my inhaler, I'm out.
It's not really good.
I'm gone. Like
Yeah.
without modern medicine, I am obsolete. Evolution is.
That's what's crazy. How many of us would not be here without I have to wear contacts. I'm not hunting anything. I'm starving to death.
I feel like I'd rather have to wear contacts and be asthmatic.
Oh, hands down. Oh, hands down. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I'm in the same. I might last a little bit longer than you, but
You can figure it out.
yeah.
But
As long as something's like 5 feet away, I
because
can
mine
kill
is
it.
like, when I was a kid, it was way worse. But mine just gets like it gets more and more exacerbated if I don't have medicine. So it's not like it's like, oh, I'm having a flare up, it'll go away. It's like I'm having a flare up, I'm gonna die.
Is it a constant thing? Like how?
No,
What triggers it?
It's like inflammation in the like capillaries in your lungs or something, like the little like airwaves. They like swell up. Exercise can trigger it, cold can trigger it, getting sick can trigger it. And vaping can trigger it. Sometimes it's so bad. This whole podcast has become about me vaping. It's like, fuck it, who cares? But sometimes I'll have my inhaler in one hand and my vape in
Oh
the other.
my god! Just take a quick puff of each.
I'm like have to clear up my airways for more vape.
That's like crazy, but that's such a relatable thing. Like we as people, like that's just us. That's like the perfect representation of what it means to be a person.
A big part of who I am as a person is just doing shit 'cause I think it's funny. To my detriment usually, but yeah, if I get some mirth from it, then it's worth it.
Mirth?
Yeah, it's like joy, happiness.
Oh damn! It's that spelling bee action coming in all these words.
Can you spell mirth for me, please?
MERTH.
Er,
Is it really?
it's MIRTH.
God damn it! I knew I shouldn't have tried to spell it. I knew it was too simple. I was like, this is gonna be. I'm gonna fuck this up. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm doing a podcast.
So you can learn the word mirth.
so I can learn new words.
Like mirth.
Yeah,
and
like mirth.
vape sickness. And
Vape sickness.
see me draw this lady smoking. It's very topical.
Yeah, hopefully people will. Well, I mean, we can. What? Here, better wrap. We've done 3 hours.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
we can wrap this bitch up.
We've been here for 3
We've been here for 3 hours. Do you want to plug all your stuff again? Where can people find you?
My Instagram is philosophia__art. There's 2 underscores because with 1 underscore it was taken. My website's the same thing, philosophia, except it's dash, not underscore, art.com. And my TikTok is philosophia_art, but it's just my medical trauma. So go look at that if you want.
Add to the view count.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this was so much fucking
Yeah,
fun.
I cannot believe that was 3
We gotta do this
hours.
again for sure. That was a blast. Yeah, thank you so much. That's all. You're good plugged.
I'm gonna plug.
Okay. Yeah, definitely go blow up that video. Hopefully people will
I just got
buy
fired,
some
so buy
art.
some shit.
Yeah, buy some freaking art, guys. It's really good. I definitely recommend. I'm not just blowing smoke up anybody's ass. Like, it's legit. It's definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it.
My heart. I'm honored. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.